Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
100% ready to go. It's been a long time coming, and I just can't wait to be out there. That's why we play football in the SEC, trying to go get it done.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
All right, let's talk confidence meter, OB. Game this weekend against Bowling Green. Okay, we've been talking all week about why Bowling Green is a team that A&M should absolutely respect. In fact, later on in the show, we're going to hear from their head coach, Scot Loeffler. I interviewed him yesterday. We'll run it today. Fantastic interview, by the way. He was really fun to talk to. Worked with Tom Brady, worked with Tim Tebow. It'll be fun, a fun listen. But we've talked about them being a veteran team, a bunch of fourth and fifth year players.
Right.
A team that is not scared by going to the big stadiums. They've done it many times, and they've held their own against Michigan, held their own against Penn State. Could have won the Penn State game. Coach Loeffler told me yesterday that he thinks that they should have had a couple more scores on Michigan and potentially won that game. That tells you a little bit about the confidence. They beat Georgia Tech last year. Okay, who was it? Was it
Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
There you go. So they are up for these games and they'll be ready. The question is, can they outlast A&M for 4 quarters? Because it seems like against these top dogs that they've played, they'll play them great in the first half, even be leading. But can they last all 4 quarters?
Yeah, and that's what is difficult for, quite frankly, for teams of that ilk. They typically don't have the depth, and when they do win, it's usually, they play great, but it's usually because the team that they're playing does things to help them stay in the game.
Yeah.
As we know A&M did when they lost Appalachian State.
They sure did.
So my confidence meter, we're going to put this on 1 to 10, 1 to 100.
Sure, 1 to 10. What are we going to feel like on Monday when we do the show? Are we going to be feeling like 10? Marcel Reed was awesome. Connor Wegman was awesome. Le'Veon Moss for 150 yards. And A&M wins comfortably. They cover. Or is it they won, but, man, that was a little closer than I expected?
Yeah, I think my confidence meter towards as far as winning the game's at a 9.
Okay.
Rarely do you put a 10, especially against a team that took a number 10 Penn State down to the wire. But they haven't played well against the run. And
A&M's good at running the ball.
And A&M's good at running the football. So I'll just start there. And I don't know if A&M's going to cover the 22 points, 22 and a half?
22 and a half, I believe,
I don't know if A&M's going to cover that, but I feel confident that they'll win because of their ability to run the football and Bowling Green's, so far, inability to stop it. I think Fordham ran for like 180 on them.
That's right. By the way, this is TexAgs Live. You knew that, right?
Yeah, I did know that.
You know that this show is presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I knew that. He's a gem of a guy.
He's a great guy. I love him. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah.
And he's also a great guy.
He's a pretty great
good
guy with Jason. Jason, the whole crew over there.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Morgan and Keith, all those guys.
The whole crew. And this is the Go Hour.
It is.
It's an hour that keeps going.
It keeps going.
And it was presented by
It
only goes for 60 minutes, so it doesn't keep going.
It goes for 60 minutes.
Every hour is actually an hour, 60 minutes, now that you think about it. So it doesn't keep going. But that's presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
Yep.
And this is the Cool Zone.
It is.
And this will be presented by somebody soon. And I'm wearing Snaps. You heard me talk about it. We're in Florida, so they're one of our new sponsors. So thank you to Snaps Clothing. Appreciate Edgar and the whole crew over there. Billy, I think has got some
good-looking shirts.
Yeah. They got some A&M like ones that are out, and they have a couple new ones coming out. But they are the official licensed provider for Texas A&M Pearl Snap shirts. So make sure that you check out their website, snapsclothing.com. I've got a white one at home.
I used to have some Pearl Snap shirts back in my Longview days when I had long sideburns.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Snap it, baby.
Yeah.
You seem like a big Snapchatter.
Snapchat? No, I
Yeah,
don't even know
you
what
seem
that
like you do
is.
the filters.
But I
and all
did
that.
have the Snap. I did use wear those pearl Snap shirts. Looks good on you.
Well, thank you, sir. So thank you to Snaps and Edgar, the whole crew over there. Let's run our mouth. 3 things we want to see brought to you by the Brazos Running Company, your local Aggie-owned specialty running store where you can find Brooks on Hoka shoes located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. All right, Olathon, what are you, give me 3 things.
Okay. I want to see A&M run the football the way they're supposed to.
I like that.
You know, I mean, that's where they have the biggest advantage. I want them to capitalize on it like they did last week. I'm looking for that 3rd straight 300-yard performance. I think it'll be the first time, maybe ever, that A&M has had 3
Straight.
consecutive in the same season.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, because I think you told me it was at the end of 1 year or 2 games at the end and 1 in the
Yeah, I
beginning.
think it was 90 and then the 91.
Yeah.
Over 300 against Texas, over 300 against BYU in the Holiday Bowl, and then over 400 against LSU to open the next season. And then 1 year they had two back-to-back 300 yards and then had 299 against Louisiana Tech. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for 300 rushing yards. I think that'd be great. I want to see continued development and more exciting plays at the quarterback position. I'm assuming that's going to be Marcel Reed.
Okay.
And then the third thing I want to see that pass rush, that dominant pass rush that we've all.
You want to see numbers and sacks.
I do. I don't care if you don't get a sack if you can add a pick 6 to it, though.
Okay. See, I don't know if we're going to see sacks based on the intel that I've received on what Bowling Green likes to do.
They're pretty good at pass protection.
They're good at pass protection. They have a big offensive line, and they get rid of the ball quickly. And everything's a dink and a dunk. They'll find a tight end, they'll find a running back, and they'll continue to do that. So that's part of my hesitation on predicting big sacks. And I've been predicting big sacks all season long, and it hasn't worked for me. So maybe the reverse psychology will work for me.
I'm thinking if they run the football the way they should and go out and get to a big lead, that at one point Bowling Green's going to have to try to make some deep shots and go get them.
So 3 things I want to see. The first one is something I'd like to see, but I don't think we're going to see.
Okay, what is that?
And that is both quarterbacks play.
Okay.
Both quarterbacks play at a very high level.
All right.
That's what I want to see.
Sure.
What do I expect to see? I expect to see a quarterback play at a high level. I don't want to predict that Connor's playing this game or Marcel.
You may see some Jalen Henderson.
You may see some Jalen Henderson. Like I'm going to let Billy handle the specifics when it comes to who's playing, who's not. I would like a scenario where Connor plays really well, and the people are like, "Oh, he's back!" And then I want Marcel to go out there, or vice versa, however it goes, and like, dude, look what Marcel just did again. I don't want a quarterback controversy. I want good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're asking what I want to see, I want to see that.
Absolutely. I want to see, if Connor plays, I want to see Connor play at the level that we've seen him play before.
Yep.
And
with a win.
Absolutely. That goes without saying, right?
Yep.
And then I want to see Marcel Reed break some more ankles.
Yeah, I love when he breaks ankles. In fact, it hurts. What does that number 2 one say right there? Because it looks very similar to yours.
Running backs, another 30-yard performance.
I hope they have more than 30 yards. 300-yard performance.
Well, I got to put on my. I know what you meant.
300 yards. Look, just like you said.
Maybe on one carry, the 30 yards. Maybe that's their average.
If that would be nice. I'll take the 6.4 that Le'Veon gave A&M last week. I would like to see another game because I know this. You talked about it a moment ago. Bowling Green is susceptible to the run. Run on them. Do what you want to do. And I'm going to add a ... after that. Mm-hmm. Killer instinct. Yeah. And that killer instinct could be running the ball at the end of games. But instead of settling for 40-yard field goals, let's score some more touchdowns at the end of games.
I like touchdowns.
I love 7s. 6 plus 1s.
Sometimes I like 8.
The last one. This is what I really like to see.
What?
I want to see the secondary, actually the pass defense overall, play at a high level. Okay? If that means linebackers are going to be in coverage because of the tight end situation over there and the dinks and dunks, great. I don't care who. I want to see the secondary and the pass defense play at a very high level.
Okay. What define high level?
I don't want us to see plays like we saw at the end with Florida, where we're like, wait, they're moving the ball on us now? Like we completely dominate.
Soft.
Sure, but I don't want to see soft.
Okay.
I want to see mean. Like when we go to 1775, we get the mean like that. That's what I want to see all game long. I'm not saying they got to score 70. No. I'm just saying I don't want them moving the ball.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
I want 4 quarters of not moving the ball.
And quite frankly, that's Bowling Green has a good quarterback that was a quarterback at Missouri for a while.
Yep.
And they've got the tight end that's a big time player and some other receivers that are more than capable.
Yep. By the way, did you know that the A&M Florida game was ABC's 4th most watched college football game of the weekend with 4.8 million viewers, and that's according to The Athletic. And I say that to you understanding that A&M was dominating at the half, and they won by 2 scores. So, yeah, were there some interesting moments? No. I mean, yeah, sure, that's football, but A&M dominated.
And you could have lost viewers in that 47-minute delay.
Rain delay, yeah, the weather delay. So people were very interested in that game for several reasons, I'm sure.
I wonder if any play has been discussed nationally more frequently than Marcel's run in which he made that poor kid, I think it's DJ Douglas, look silly.
Can you do your impersonation right here, just close to where the light
of
Marcel?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm going to go, no, I don't.
Do it again. Do it
I'm
again.
going to go this way, no, I don't. I used to do that all the time for the Touch Tigers.
If you would have torn an ACL there, I would have felt terrible because I felt like a hamstring pull or something was coming. But
we should have put Nick out here to be the role of DJ Douglas.
Yeah.
And watch me break Nick's ankles.
McKinley? I'm kidding. Anyway, if those of you who haven't watched Jim Turner does a lot of that in his his breakdowns.
That was fun yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going to just have to give him the hour because 2 segments isn't enough for Jim Turner. We're just going to have to say, you're the host of the show for the 9 o'clock hour. It's your show. He was so good. All right, let's go around the room and say hi to the people. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can do it. 979-693-1150. If you call that number, we'll pick it up on the Boss Firearms hotline. And, of course, you can text that number, 979-693-1150. We go behind the glass. We talk to the great Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
I was, David, you got the pearl snap on. You're going hunting with, remind me where you're going?
Dog?
Bird Dog, yeah, Bird Dog. You're going to Boss Firearms, checking out that website. You're turning into a full-blown country boy.
I'm a country boy, that listens to rap music and country.
And you hang out with Steve Naegeli.
Yeah.
Certified
In fact,
country
I'm hanging out
boy.
with Steve Naegeli tonight. How about that?
Oh, is that a fact?
That's a fact.
Well,
we're partying
I'm
late,
jealous.
at least till 8:35 p.m.
Nice.
At least. We're starting at 8.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, hey, one thing I want to see, just obviously you want to see a dominating win, but you just want to see everyone stay healthy. I know that's kind of a given, but with these type of games, how much are we really going to learn? So that's kind of what I want to see is just a healthy game.
OB, he wants to see everybody stay healthy, right? But how much can we really learn in a game against Bowling Green? You can learn a lot if it goes the wrong way.
Well, more than you can some other games.
This is a legit opponent.
A legit opponent. Again, I think that game with Penn State was a 3-point game, with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So that's how close they were in it. I think it was Singleton from Penn State had a long run with a little under 4 minutes to go to ice it, and it was that competitive. Plus, you're feeling good after beating Florida on the road. I think you learn how they're going to respond to some success.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Aggies gather at the Angry Elephant. McKinley Polanski is there. McKinley, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
OB?
Doing well.
I didn't sleep well. Do you want a real answer, or do you want me just to kind of gloss over it?
A real answer.
I didn't sleep well. I've had a rough week of sleep, and I know that's what old people say, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I get that.
I don't think you care. I don't think you do. I think you're ready to move on.
No, I'm not. We have a lot of news in Aggie sports.
500!
The Texas A&M soccer team earned the 500th win in the program with the Aggies' 1-0 victory over the Missouri Tigers to open SEC play at Walton Soccer Stadium Thursday evening. The Aggies became the 13th NCAA Division I program to reach the milestone, including the first SEC team and the first team from Texas.
After having some tough battles in non-conference, the way to start off SEC play, because Missouri's a very good program. So congrats to A&M and, of course, Coach G. 500 career victories for the program. McKinley?
Last night, volleyball won 3-1 against UNI, and the team is traveling to Madison, Wisconsin, where they will take on number 8 Wisconsin on Saturday at 7 p.m.
Am I right? This is their best start to the program?
Mm-hmm.
So you and McKinley were going against the volleyball team?
Pardon?
She said you and I.
Ah, you and I. It's a university.
Yeah, I hear they're pretty good in football when they play Notre Dame.
This is true. They may make the playoffs, buddy. I don't know about all that. Go ahead.
Yes. The number 9 Texas A&M women's golf team
They're good, by the way.
They are. Continues its 2024-25 schedule at the Mason Rudolph Championship, September 20th through 22nd. And men's golf, the number 19.
They're good, by the way.
They're good, too. Texas A&M men's golf team returns to action when they head to Olympia Fields Country Club for the 18th annual OFCC Fighting Alini Invitational from Friday to Sunday.
Say it again. I want you to see you do it again. Good, do it. Come on.
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Say it again.
OFCC Fighting Alini Invitational.
You try it now.
Alini? The Alini? Where's this taking place? Could it be Illini?
Olympia Fields?
Could it be Illini? Is it up in
I don't know.
Illinois?
I put it in Google Translate and that's what it said. So.
Is it spelled with an I?
Mm-hmm.
L-L?
Like
I-L-L-I-N-I.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be Illini, as in the University of Illinois.
Yeah, that's all right.
Their mascot's the Fighting Illini.
I like Alini better. I'm more team Alini.
Alini sounds like something. It sounds like something Liucci would have for dinner.
I'm gonna have the Alini with a little more pasta on the side.
Veal, yeah.
Alini. Continue on, McKinley.
Okay. Texas A&M women's tennis begins its fall season with a trip to the HEB Invitational at the Hurd Tennis Center in Waco, Friday to Sunday. The tournament field features players from Arizona, Baylor, Colorado, Houston, Illinois, Nebraska, Rice, SMU, and UTSA.
Illinois is going to be there.
Alini's going to be there.
Yeah, the Alini.
How would you say Illinois with an Alini flair?
You mean? I don't know.
I can't say it. I don't know. Never mind.
Anyway, it says Illinois.
Illinois. It's Illinois.
They don't. Yeah,
the S is silent.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's hit a break there. Thank you, McKinley. Appreciate you. OB, people have been commenting about you making it rain. That's been the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know you're a big club guy. You party. You go to the champagne room. I get it, right?
That's me.
Yeah. You make it rain. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to make it rain some more. All right, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. No, I want you to save money before you throw away the money. Let's make some money. Use the code TexAgs to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play in $5 lineups. I don't have my, do you have the graphic up to see what I'm doing this week? So I can't really read that from here. Nick, can you tell me what I'm doing? Because it's too far from
of course, you got the Caleb Williams over a half yard.
Right?
That's, more than. That's a easy play there. Nico Imaliava, more than 251.5 passing yards. That is, how do you say that last name? Phil Maffa, thank you there.
Maffa.
Yeah, more than 85.5 rushing yards. Jackson Arnold, 243.5 passing yards. You took the less, and then Travis Hunter, Mr. Do-It-All for the Buffaloes, more than 94.5 receiving yards.
He's going to have more than, yeah. And the reason we're going through these picks is I'm going to win, and I'm going to make some money, and you can make some money with daily fantasy sports with our good friends there at Prize Picks. Again, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to receive guaranteed $50 once you play in $5 lineups. As Nick just showed you a moment ago, every Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win in every week in September. So if you pick that as one of your choices, you're going to win. So let's win and I'll make some money. PrizePicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. It is daily fantasy sports, the biggest in North America. The easiest, most exciting way to do it is you against the numbers. More than or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections. It is PrizePicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. David Nuño and, of course, Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can do it, 979-693-1150. It is the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Richard Zane correcting us on something. It's not volleyball's best start. It's their best start since 2011, which started 9-0. Starting 8-0 in 2024 is currently the program's third best start. Thank you to our fact checker there, Richard Zane, who would fact check you and me. He would do us both.
That's what he does.
He gets it right. All right, let's do a little matchups, shall we?
Yeah, let's look at some key matchups.
Do you want to start off with A&M's quarterback situation?
Yeah, A&M quarterbacks versus the Bowling Green secondary. Maybe a better matchup than you think. First of all, we don't know who's going to be the A&M quarterback until game time, right?
Yeah, game time decision this season.
All season long, maybe. So, but let's go with on the theory that it's going to be Marcel Reed.
Okay.
You know, had a heck of a game last week. 178 yards passing, a 29-yard touchdown pass to Thor Orstrom, 73 yards to Cyrus Allen. Looked excellent. Didn't throw a lot, but he didn't have to.
Yep.
And when he did, he threw it pretty well. So he's still inexperienced, gaining experience, but still relatively inexperienced. He's going against a Bowling Green secondary with two senior cornerbacks. You know, you got Ja'Cory Benjamin and Jordan I don't even know how to say it.
And nobody does. His family doesn't either. Oladikan.
But also an all-MAC safety and C.J. Brown. Maybe Oladikan used to play for the Eleni. Anyway, they have a lot of guys that transferred. Their pass defense has been pretty solid in 2 games. You know, they surrendered just 204 passing yards in the 34-27 loss to Penn State. And that's Drew Aller, who, you know, I'm not overly impressed with, but the national media seems to think that he's one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. So remember, the Nittany Lions didn't take control of that game until there was like 5 minutes to go in the game. And a big part of that was, Aller had 2 touchdown passes, but not a great game. So that's a pretty good secondary that A&M has to face.
Yeah, absolutely. Where else do you want to go?
Oh, yeah, we talked about it a little bit already, but again, the biggest advantage that A&M figures to have is running back Le'Veon Moss going against that Bowling Green run defense. You know, Moss had a career high, 110 yards, just as you called it, last year. And
I might be calling something
last
today.
week. And I think he may, there's definitely the opportunity, if he gets sufficient carries of him, to maybe have back-to-back career highs, because I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to expect Le'Veon Moss to get 111 or more yards in this game.
I talked to him yesterday, by the way. Go to TexAgs.com to check it out. Thanks to our friends of the 12th Man Foundation, Texas Aggies United. He is a very confident young man. He's soft-spoken, but he knows. He said he could have rushed for 200, and we know he could have.
I think he could have. As it is, he's the number 7 ranked rusher in the SEC. He's averaging 5.6 yards a carry. And again, the problem with that is he going to get sufficient carries? Because you got Amari Daniels and E.J. Smith running the ball pretty well, too. Now, they're going to get a Bowling Green run defense. It's ranked 121st in the nation, right? And that's after giving up 182 rushing yards to Fordham. And then Penn State had 234 rushing yards against Bowling Green. So you've got it appears that you have a significant advantage there. You got to capitalize on it.
Let's do one more offensive player, Cyrus Allen.
Oh, Cyrus Allen.
You know, he scores big touchdowns.
He
has.
He's A&M's leading receiver.
Yep.
I don't have his numbers on me right now, but that 73-yard touchdown pass was the number one, was the longest pass of the, not just pass, play of the season for Texas A&M. I think he's been a heck of a pleasant surprise. We expected him to come in and make a contribution, but he's making a bigger contribution than maybe we expected.
Sure.
And with his emergence or his play has allowed A&M to, be able to work in some other guys without having to force anything.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, Terry Bussey comes to mind. So I think he's been exceptional, and again, he's going to have I don't know that he's facing better corners and safeties than he faced last week, but maybe.
Maybe.
I know that, again, what we just talked about, he's got Bowling Green has a couple of accomplished senior cornerbacks that he's going to have to deal with.
Yep. Hey, let's do one more A&M player because we do definitely want to get to some Bowling Green players. Let's do a defensive player. You pick.
Well, I know the A&M run defense is going to be important in this game, and it starts with Torian York.
Yep.
I mean, you could say, well, it starts with the defensive line. That's true, but a good run defense is always going to have an active inside linebacker. And Torian's, I think he's got like 7 tackles last week. I think he was tied for the team lead. He is the team leader in tackles. And Bowling Green, I think, they want to throw the ball a lot, but you always have to have some balance.
Sure.
And I think that was proven last week by Florida. Could only get 52 yards total yards rushing. So I think Torian York leading that run defense. Bowling Green was without their leading rusher last week against Penn State. Tyrion Stewart. He had 161 yards rushing, I think, in their opener, and he's their best running back. Yep. So he's expected to play. Scot Loeffler said he would.
He's really good.
And he's really good. So that's kind of a matchup within the matchup of Torian York and leading that defense. Can they do, hopefully they can, to Tyrion Stewart what they did to Bontrell Johnson?
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to hold him to -7 yards on 7 carries.
But if they did,
it'd be a heck of a goal to aspire to.
Let's do one more Bowling Green player.
Well, you got to start with that tight end, Harold Fannin.
Yeah,
Harold Fannin Jr.
If you watched the Penn State game, you saw him make plays.
Absolutely. You saw him make a lot of them.
Yeah.
He's 6'4", 230, so he's kind of smallish for a tight end. But I think he's that hybrid tight end wide receiver. I was watching the tape of that game yesterday, and he had, on the opening drive, he has like a 32-yard reception right down the seam where he's just outrunning people.
Yep.
And then he scores a touchdown, a 6-yard touchdown on an out route where he gets separation and he's by himself. So this guy's a legitimate threat. I mean, he may be the best player on the Bowling Green roster, and he has again a competent quarterback to get him the ball. So how are you going to guard Harold Fannin? Back in the day, before defenses changed a lot, and it used to be your strong safety.
Yep.
Typically drew the assignment on the tight end, and that's in that role is probably Marcus Ratliff.
Yep.
Who, by the way, leads the Aggies with 2 interceptions.
He does have 2.
So I think he'll draw a lot of that assignment, of Fannin. But I think they're going to probably change that around a lot. And sometimes the nickel's going to be on him. They may roll somebody else over on him. Sometimes if he gets to a certain part in the defense, you'll see Bryce Anderson come on over him. I would be skeptical that you'll see linebackers on him very often because he just has too much speed.
OB, I have a dilemma.
What's that dilemma?
Carson Stein used to work for us. He works at Bryan Broadcasting. Good young man.
Yeah.
We love Carson. He's been asking to take me to lunch for weeks just to kind of talk about his career and like what he wants to do. And obviously, I've got to take him to lunch. I know how that works because I'm the old guy in the situation. The old guy always pays. But that being said,
tell me about it.
Right? Like, well, I'm still waiting for you to pay for lunch. No, I'm kidding. And I'm thinking, there's really only one option to take young Carson Stein to eat. Like he said, where do you want to go where you get some protein, dude? And he actually said, dude.
Well, he's like 17, and you're on your way to 75. So
This
it
is
seems
true.
to me the ideal answer there is 1775.
And then if we were to go to 1775, we can do carbs, right? Because there's many options.
You have to do carbs.
Yeah, you have
You are
to.
required to. You'll hate yourself if you don't get the queso mac and cheese.
I think every marathon runner in town needs to carb load at 1775.
I think you should become a marathon runner just so you would have an excuse to eat the queso mac
And then if you want to be a bodybuilder and you need to get 1 gram per protein for body pound OB, actually let's go 1.5. Let's go for 220 grams of protein per day. Where do we go?
1775, get that brisket and pump you up.
Do it again. Pump you up. Thank you very much. It is 1775, Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. Online ordering turns off at 10 a.m., 8203 Raymond Stosser Parkway in College Station. Call them up, 979-492-6241. The website is 1775txbbq.com. And we're back on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. It is now time for our Pick 6 segment, brought to you by Prize Picks. Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to receive that guaranteed $50 once you play in those $5 lineups. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Polanski. McKinley, I'm going to be very honest with you. I sent you the games. I don't even know what the games are. I just did a copy and paste thing. So I'm going cold turkey on this.
Okay.
So let's go.
Number 24, Illinois, is traveling to number 22, Nebraska. They are playing at 7 p.m. at Tom Osborne Field at Memorial Stadium today. It will be streamed on Fox.
What's the first team? What is it? What team is it?
Illinois.
Okay, just making sure.
I can say that. Okay. It will be streamed on Fox. And Nebraska is favored by 8.5 points.
OB, this is an interesting one. That's a big number for two teams that are so closely ranked. But I feel I'm on the Nebraska train right now.
Me too.
Let's go Huskers.
Yeah, I think the Huskers have enough offense to cover that. And quite frankly, I'm still not a believer in the Pelini.
Yeah, Bo Pelini. I mean, he had a.
Pelini used to be the head coach at Nebraska.
This is true. This is fate.
It's the team once coached by Pelini against the Pelini.
Yep, I'm going to go with Illinois. I'm kidding. I'm going to go with Nebraska. Nebraska's going to cover.
What? I couldn't hear. There's too much Illinois.
I'm going with. You do a good job at laughing at old people jokes. Thank you so much.
It's funny.
It's not that funny. Let's be honest.
Arkansas is traveling to Auburn. They're playing at 2:30 p.m. at Pat Dye Field at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It will be on ESPN, and Auburn is favored by 3.5 points.
Conflicted on this one, OB.
Wait, Auburn's favored. I can take the Razorbacks and get points.
That's how I feel.
Hog me up.
Yeah, I believe more in Arkansas so far than I do in Auburn. Yeah. Auburn is at home. Arkansas is coming off a heartbreaking loss. Was that last week, the Oklahoma State game? Was it?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, okay. So that's right. I don't remember anything from last weekend because of the flu. So I'm going with Arkansas.
Yeah, our Kansas, yes.
Arkansas.
Number 11, USC is traveling to number 18, Michigan. They're playing at 2:30 p.m. at Michigan Stadium. It will be streamed on CBS, and USC is favored by 6.5 points.
Olin, I went on Candy 95. You know, I'm a big Candy 95 kind of guy. My good buddy Ted over there. And I picked Michigan only because they both picked USC. And I know that was the wrong choice, but I wanted to go opposite. USC is going to win this game. Michigan's a train wreck, and I think USC is actually heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I know Michigan's going to orgy, but I'm still taking the Trojans to cover.
Did you work on that one?
No.
It just came to you?
Pretty much.
Oh, my. You understand? You don't understand, do you? We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
We won't talk about it on the air. That's, yeah. So who'd you pick? I'm sorry?
Trojans to cover.
And who's the quarterback at?
Orgy. Alex Orgy. He's from Saxe, Texas. So it's going to be a Saxe orgy.
Hold on. That's Josh on line one. Hold on, let me take this. Yes, sir? Okay, we got to go take our playbook upstairs. I think I already picked, right? I picked USC. Oh, my. Save the segment, McKinley.
Number 12, Utah, is traveling to number 14, Oklahoma State. They're playing at 3 p.m. at Boone Pickens Stadium. It will be streamed on Fox, and Oklahoma State is favored by 2.5 points.
I'm conflicted on this one, too.
I am, too.
Because I think Utah's a better team.
I do, too.
But Cam Rising, does he ever play? He's 109.
Yeah, has he played in like 2 years?
He didn't play last year at all, right? Remember they said game one he might play.
Yeah,
he might play. I'm going to go Utah just because I believe in that program. I think Oklahoma State's struggling with Arkansas and really I know it's a different season, but struggling against an A&M team that had nobody in that bowl game. I'm going to say Utah's just the better team.
I'm inclined to take Utah, but I don't want us to be, completely alike.
Well, I'm not going to Michigan.
But I'm last.
I'm not far from last.
I am the Florida State of the TexAgs pickers.
And
off to a horrible start.
And I'm Florida.
I'll take Utah.
All right, Utah it is.
Number 6, Tennessee is traveling to number 15, Oklahoma. They're playing at 6:30 p.m. at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. It will be streamed on ABC, and Tennessee is favored by 7.5 points.
This is easy for me.
I'll take Tennessee all day.
Yeah, okay. Are we twins? Are we Christian and Cruz here?
What?
Yeah, we are.
I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
You look like a Cruz.
Yeah. Cross. All right, I'm taking Tennessee. That's not even, to me, Tennessee's, I don't know if boat race them is the right term, but I think they're going to win comfortably.
I agree. Yeah, Tennessee.
Okay.
Bowling Green is traveling to number 25, Texas
Where's Bowling
A&M.
Green? Do you know? I didn't know until this week. I know he knew.
It's in Ohio, yeah.
Ohio.
Some people think it's in Kentucky because there is a Bowling Green, Kentucky with a university.
Right.
But
this particular
that is
Bowling
Western Kentucky in
Right.
Bowling Green, Kentucky. This
Right.
is Bowling Green, Ohio.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I thought I knew, and then I was like, wait, I got it wrong. I was thinking the Kentucky version. Continue on, please.
They are playing at 6:30 p.m. at Kyle Field. It will be streamed on ESPN Plus, and Texas A&M is favored by 22.5 points.
Big number for this.
It is a big
It's
number.
a better opponent than people think.
I'm struggling with this one, OB.
I am too. I think this may be the most difficult game to pick.
A&M's going to win. Okay? Said it. Put it this way. I'd be happy to be wrong on this one. I'm going to take Bowling Green because I think 22.5 is a big number.
Big number.
Right? But that being said, I hope I'm wrong. If I stay in last place because the Aggies start blowing out teams, but let's not forget, against McNeese, they didn't cover.
Backdoor cover, yeah.
Right? They did against Florida, though.
Yeah.
They did against Florida. So it's a big number. I think I'm taking Bowling Green.
Yeah. I'll go with the Aggies.
Thank you.
With all that running game, I'm going to just assume that they're going to be able to control this one. But like I said, I think this is one of the more difficult choices to make.
I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope. Like, that's one
I really hope you're wrong, too.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong on all. Oh, wait, I hope you're right on all of them because we have a lot of the same.
I think this is the only one we have different.
Yeah, this is true. All right, we'll hit a break here. We will come back with Bank on It and Around Aggieland. Right now, we're talking about Heritage Films. Go check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341. Go talk to Chance McClain. He'll pick up the phone call if he's not on a shoot, and he'll chit-chat with you about whatever kind of story ideas that you might have for your family documentary style, right? Do a documentary on your mom and dad. Do one on your family business, your family ranch, on some kind of get-togethers. I'm going on the bird dog hunt. Maybe have Chance come out there, shoot that whole event, have that kind of saved out for the rest of your family to see how everything went. I know I worded that poorly, but you know what I'm saying. Go hang out with Chance, have him tell your story, have him tell your family's story, and have that story preserved for the next generation and the generation after that. The website, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. My buddy Philip texts me, and he says, I hope you guys can give a Shohei a minute today. No, we're not going to give him a minute. He went 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases, 10 RBIs last night to lock up the 50-50 season. First MLB in history. Unbelievable. Yes, but this is TexAgs Live, not Shohei Live. Love you, Philip, but that was pretty incredible, by the way.
Yeah, Richard Zane, I'm surprised he hadn't already just come in here and try to hijack the show because he's such a big Dodgers fan, and that is an amazing, historic accomplishment.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Also, I want to read this text. Nick, this is for you, buddy.
I already know what you're going to go to. Yeah.
I know, because I like getting you worked up. Just a reminder that the home team should always go last on your graphics, which makes it easier to know the home team. 2 things on that.
Oh, actually, that's a different chirp that I thought I was going to get. Somebody texted at like 4 a.m. like, why isn't, you should tell Nick to put Michael early in the intro. Yeah, I will when it's baseball season, bro. But anyways, no, that's actually not true.
Well,
but
I mean,
whatever.
It was his brother.
Yeah. Why don't you come in and work Photoshop at 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, bro.
But Nick, bottom line is, can you explain to the people why we have it the way we have it so they understand?
Well, I mean, I put it that way because,
Look, let me remind the folks. When it's an ISO shot, I don't want to have the opposing team above my head because there's a lot of ISO shots. And then we tweet it out, oh, Nuño roots for Oklahoma, Texas.
I think they're talking about the lower thirds, like this lower third.
Okay. I think we just lost our entire audience.
Anyways.
All right, let's bank on
Except
something.
for our Japanese baseball fans. We gained them.
Oh, that's good for the numbers then, the algorithm. Bank Audit Time, presented by Vera Bank. Authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. We got to hurry because we got to get to KK. So what are you banking on?
Oh, I'm banking on 300 yards rushing.
I'm banking on 117 from Le'Veon Moss. I said 110 last week. I was exactly right. He's going to give you 117 against BG. It is now time for Around Aggieland, ladies and gentlemen, and that is brought to you by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. The website, normangstatebank.com. And with that, we have... Why are you shaking your head?
It's just a really speedy...
Yeah, why, sis?
We're
son?
bro, sis, we're KK, all the names today.
Hi, Kay.
I like it. How are y'all?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. Let's get into it. As we know, football, it's happening. 6:30, Bowling Green, Saturday, be there. Simple as that. Little Mac-tion, if you will. I know we're all excited about it. There you go.
And I
will. We will. We all will. We'll be sitting together. It'll be fun. Let's get into some soccer. They grabbed their 500th program win in their conference opener against Missouri. That was last night, a 1-0 victory in Columbia. They are just the 13th program to reach the 500 win mark. So we had a nice little video go out on social media congratulating Coach G, all the staff, all the former players. It's a heck of an accomplishment for a program like that. They will look to make it 5-0-1 against Oklahoma. That will be this Sunday at Ellis at 2 p.m. That will be their conference home opener with a team like Oklahoma, a new SEC opponent. That'll be fun. Volleyball still sits undefeated. They beat Northern Iowa 3-1 last night. So they are still undefeated. They are now 8-0. That is their best start since 2011. Heck of an accomplishment for Jamie Morrison's program. They will head on the road. They have a big one this Saturday. That is with number 8 Wisconsin, a historically very good volleyball program. That will be, unfortunately, at 7 p.m., so overlapping a little bit with football, but get some updates if you can. And then at Troy on Sunday at 1 p.m. Both of those matches are at the UW Fieldhouse. And then golf, both the men's and women's return to action. The men's team, can y'all guess where they're going to go? The Fighting Illini Invitational this weekend, and then the women's...
Alani
will be at the Mason Rudolph Championship to kick off their 2024-2025 campaign.
Very good stuff. Thank you very much, KK. OB, in the last 3 minutes of the segment, things you're looking for, not 3 things you want to see, but things that you need to see improvement on.
Well, again, I think it's going to start with the quarterback, right? I want to see him continue to build. I'm assuming, no matter who that is.
Right.
Because the last time we saw Connor, he played well. He improved on his performance against Notre Dame. And if we do see Connor, I want to continue to see progress.
Right.
And if it's Marcel, I just want to continue to see him maybe pick out the open receivers more frequently.
Sure.
Right? I want to see the pass defense get better. Now, maybe the numbers were a little skewed last week, but there were also times when Florida had some open receivers and the quarterback just didn't get them the ball. And I still want to see, no matter what the circumstance is, pressure from that defensive pass rush.
Yep, I like that. Look, whoever plays QB, and if there's two that play, great. If there's one that plays, whatever. I want to see an efficient offense, right? And I do want to see more Connor this year. I want to see him. So if it's this weekend, if it's in a couple of weeks, I want to see that. And I want to see this team, as Nick said, which is an easy thing to say, but can we stay healthy for SEC play? Can we not get some? Because there's been some injuries already this year. Center position has been banged up. All right, let's go ahead and be honest. They cannot continue to. Now, luckily, it looks like the Coley thing was hopefully a day-to-day thing. Hopefully he'll be back this week. Hopefully. We'll find out more from Billy later on in the 9 o'clock hour, which is coming up soon. But you can't have injuries. You've got to stay healthy. And I just want to see some offensive progress. If this team continues to do what we've seen each week, which is improve a little bit, I think we're going to be trending in the right direction when SEC play starts.
Well, again,
I guess continues.
Yeah, which would be the week next week.
A week from now, we'll be thinking about going to Dallas. I don't know if we're going to go until Saturday. I don't know.
Do we know what time that game kicks off?
2:30.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll have to figure that out.
All right.
Playing that. OB, good stuff, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Hour number 2 of the program. We're going to talk to Scot Loeffler, the head coach there at Bowling Green. You're going to love this interview. I did it yesterday right after the show, and I even had Richard Zane reach out to me afterwards. Nick talked to me about it. You're going to really like this guy. I want to hear from you during the interview and afterwards your thoughts on that interview. So that's coming up right away. Then we're going to have Billy Liucci, obviously, from the rest of the 9 o'clock hour, the 10 o'clock hour, and the McKinney brothers at the final countdown. That and more. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Boss Firearms. So I just asked McKinley if she likes the movie Top Gun, and she said she does. And then I asked her why, and then before I let her answer the question, I think I told her, I think I know why.
Yeah, Miles Teller.
I wasn't going to air it out like that. My daughter Annalise loves Miles Teller too. All right, I just embarrassed my daughter now. TexAgs Live, we are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. You're going to listen to an interview here in a moment. But first, I want to talk about one of our new partners, Southwood Valley Animal Hospital. I talked to Dr. Justin Casares the other day, and Dr. Lauren Casares. They took over ownership back in 2002. Great people, by the way. They're doing some amazing things with the place. They're Aggie owned and operated, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley since for over 30 years, but they took over a couple years back. Dr. Justin's family are a bunch of Aggies, right? In fact, I think he was the 13th Aggie. I wrote down some notes. 17 Aggie graduates in their family, which is pretty cool. They provide routine veterinary services, including wellness visits, sick emergency visits, and surgical cases. They provide advanced medical care at affordable prices. But here's the facts. They're elevating medicine here in the Brazos Valley. You got to check it out. They're doing a bunch of changes there. You'll love it. Yeah, they're just really, really good. And they take care of their students, and they take care of the TexAgs community as well. So if you're a subscriber or listener, let them know that. They're huge fans of Aggie Athletics. They listen to this show all the time. New clients, they want to give them, you got to tell them about the TexAgs 12 discount. They're going to hook you up, right? $12 off if you're a TexAgs listener on your first visit. And all the students get hooked up all the time. Tell them you're a student. They will give you a discount. 979-693-9898. That is 979-693-9898. The website is southwoodvalleyvet.com. That is southwoodvalleyvet.com. All right, let's talk a little Bowling Green here. You want to learn about them. We've been telling you a little bit about it. Let's hear from the head coach, Scot Loeffler, here on the show. We talked to him yesterday. Here's the latest with him from yesterday afternoon. Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. We are joined by Scot Loeffler, the Bowling Green head coach here on TexAgs Live. Scott, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. I want to get to know a little bit about your team because obviously I think the nation saw what happened against Penn State where you guys were leading. Such a great game. But then I started looking back at your history there at Bowling Green. Your team gets ready for these games all the time. This is kind of in the DNA. So how did that come about of being ready for these big-time opponents?
Well, we were a total rebuild 5 years ago. And, brick by brick, we just laid the foundation. And during those years of, going from a really horrific program to a team that can compete, we've always found ways to get up for these big games. If you go back to Minnesota, we were 33-point underdogs and found a way to win there. I think Georgia Tech, we were 25-point underdogs and beat them by 10 points. So our guys, and then last year in the Michigan game, we went with a walk-on quarterback all the way into the third quarter and really should have been up 2 scores at halftime. We dropped a touchdown pass and missed another one that was wide open. So our kids love to play in these big environments. All my life, I got to coach at places like Texas A&M, and I love the environment. I think our kids love it. And what a great opportunity to go down and be a part of such a great tradition down there at Texas A&M.
So when you're recruiting guys for Bowling Green, I guess that you look for some certain type of DNA, like guys who want to play somewhere for a few years, grow, develop, and become men there on the field.
Yeah, we were, just like I said, 6 years ago, a complete rebuild. And we were able to keep 30 seniors. And you're going to see there's a couple guys on our team, about 10 that could have actually left for a lot of money. And they decided to stay. And that's the reason that we have a chance to be competitive in all these games. We got really, really good players. And in our conference, we'll be able to compete with the upper echelon of our conference. But the whole key was going and recruiting the 4-hour radius. We recruited talented guys that were 3-star, 2-star guys, developed them. They were able to stay. And, I would love to go back into the old school days where a place like Texas A&M gets to keep a guy for 5 years and watch him develop. And it's going to be really interesting to see the formula and how people can sustain programs in this chaotic world. It's going to be really interesting to see over these next 5 years to see how this whole thing plays out.
Well, I like your line of thinking. One of the things I noticed about your team, I was talking to an insider. He goes, take a look at their offensive line. They got SEC size, 6'4", 319 average is what I was told. And I went back and looked. You've got some men on the offensive line, sir.
Yeah, the entire time that we were here, we were trying to rebuild the offensive line and the defensive fronts. We did the defensive front first, and that's why we've had good defenses these last couple of years at our level. Obviously, at Texas A&M level, we're nowhere near your guys' level. I mean, I turned on the film and I see these 330-pound, unbelievable D linemen, and I think the offensive line has been developed extraordinarily well. But that's what we were trying to do. It all started about rebuilding the fronts, and we've got a really good offensive line right now for our level, a really good defensive line for our level. And, the difference is that your guys as defensive fronts and offensive fronts can sustain an SEC schedule year in or week in and week out. When we play the Penn States of the world, the Michigans of the world, you guys, it generally has a huge effect on the next week. If you go back and you looked at the Michigan game, we play Michigan, we play them really well for a half. We ended up still losing, by 20 or 30 points, but it really affected the next week. We didn't play very well because we had so many bumps and bruises. So I've got a ton of respect for what's going on at your guys' program right now, because the foundation of any good place is all built around really good defensive fronts and really good offensive fronts. You guys have got that right now. I've coached in that league, 3 or 4 years. And I understand what it's supposed to look like. And defensively up front, it's exactly what it's supposed to look like. The offensive line at Texas A&M is excellent. You get a few skill guys, watch out. I mean, you're going to be in the top 10 before you can even blink as soon as you get some skill guys, in my opinion.
Well, you sound like a talk show host there, so I think you should take over my job, Coach, because you sounded fantastic with the breakdown.
I just got a ton of respect for what's going on down there. I really do. Like, I love teams or coaches that build from the front out. And that's what Coach Elko's doing right now.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Have you ever met Coach Elko? Any relationship with him? What have you seen from afar?
We've been against each other 3 different times. I think whenever I was at Boston College, he was at Notre Dame and Wake Forest. I think the one year that I was at Temple, we crossed over with Bowling Green when he was here. I actually called the worst game I ever called against Elko whenever I was at Temple and he was at Bowling. It was the worst. I look back at my career, it was the worst game that I've ever called. And then we had some battles whenever he was at Notre Dame, some battles at Wake Forest. I've got a ton of respect for him. I love what he does. And, he's a real guy. He's a tough guy. He's a guy that cares about his players. There's no BS with him. I've got a ton of respect for him. And Texas A&M is going to be in really good hands over these next couple of years. There's no question.
Let me ask you about another tough guy, Cassius Howell. Cash has been great for A&M. I'm sure it was a tough loss for you all, but I'm sure you're kind of proud of what he's doing here.
Yeah, if we had Cassius Howell in our league with the defensive guys that we have, we'd be jumping up and down. But loved recruiting Cassius. He comes from a great family. His father was a hockey player, believe it or not, at Miami of Ohio. So he's got MAC roots. We recruited him out of Kansas City, and he's a first-class kid. He's a great kid. He speaks great, super, super smart. He's going to do well in the classroom. Hellacious pass rusher, in my opinion. I think he needs to gain some weight to be able to, hold up against the runs on first and second down. But, everyone was taking him to be a pass rusher, and that's what A&M's done. And he's gotten bigger. I'm really proud of him. And, anytime that a guy leaves our program, I want him to leave for the right reasons. There's kids that leave programs and are going to be, backups. They're going to be third. They're going to be guys that are going to be special teams guy. I knew Cassius wasn't going to be one of those guys. So anytime that a guy can leave our program and actually be a starter or have a huge impact and not go from 755 snaps down to 200, I think it's a positive. Now, if a kid, if Texas A&M takes that guy and he's only playing 200 snaps, he should stay at Bowling Green. Right. So I'm jacked up for Cassius, jacked up. So I'm super excited to see him. I'm going to give him a big hug, and I love that guy.
Connor Bazelak, A&M, saw him a few years back when he was at Missouri. This is, I believe, his second year with you. Just talk a little bit about his growth and what you've seen from the quarterback position with him.
Yeah. Connor is one of the few guys that was broken, to be quite honest with you. He goes to Missouri, has a great first year. Things start falling apart. He gets hurt, loses his job. He goes to Indiana and got put in a situation where he didn't have a lot of help around him, didn't have a lot of great protection. They had no run game and really developed some poor habits. And most of the time, when a guy gets the hell beat out of him at that position, it's really difficult to bring him back and be productive. And his first half of the season last year, he had some of those demons. And we were able to break those habits and really get him fundamentally sound. He believes in the system. He's a great quarterback, and he's a guy that I think will have a chance to go on and play at the next level. I really do. He's really playing really good football right now, and if he has a great season, he'll be one of those guys he'll find his way into a camp and someone will keep him.
Well, if you watch the Penn State game, or you watch any time you watch Bowling Green, you're going to notice a tight end, Harold Fannin Jr. My goodness, that guy's got size, speed, makes all the plays out there. And he was a linebacker before?
He was a linebacker in high school. Okay. And a wide receiver, believe it or not. And he comes from a great program. Camp McKinley in Northeast Ohio is, a predominant program here in Ohio. And we were able to get him. He was a late qualifier, qualified late, and really developed here. I mean, he didn't. We put him at every single position. He's really super intelligent, super football intelligent, really good in the classroom. But he can play anywhere that I've coached. There's no question about it. So all the pro scouts ask me, can he play at Michigan? Yes, he could. Can he play at Florida? Yes, he could. Can he play at Auburn? Absolutely. Could he play here? When you watched him in the Penn State game, number 2, their safety's a first-round draft pick. He's a no-brainer. And Harold did really well against him. And we all know it here that he's a draft pick. And in my opinion, he'll play a long time. He has the ability to play a long time. He's got all the intangibles. He's smart. He loves ball. And, he's that perfect hybrid. You could put him everywhere. You'll see him on Saturday in the backfield. You'll see him at tight end. You'll see him at X. You'll see him at Z. Hell, we've even put him at quarterback before. I mean, he's a really, really good player.
Coach, so I did a little research on your career because I was fascinated with all your stops. And I ran around a quote where you talked about how you told Lloyd Carr when you were at Michigan and you were making the transition from coach to GA that you had considered potentially being a lawyer, maybe in the military. So talk to me about your path to coaching.
Yeah, probably in 1993, I was the backup quarterback as a true freshman, beat some older guys out. And right before the Ohio State game, I tore my rotator cuff and never played again. That party was over. Brian Greasy was a walk-on quarterback behind me. They ended up scholarshiping Brian after I got hurt. And to keep my scholarship, I had to be involved in the football program somehow, some way. And whenever I went down the medical route, Lloyd asked me, are you considering coaching? I said, Lloyd, I'm going to either what I'm planning on doing is going to law school. I'm not going to do it. I'll either be in the FBI or go try to be a SEAL or something of that nature. I mean, I was 240 pounds. Looked like you back in the day, just big guy that could, was athletic and all that. And I ended up falling in love with this coaching thing. And then he hired me right out of college. I was very fortunate. I mean, I got handed a Maserati, at 23, 24 years old. I forget how old I was, and got to coach, at that time, arguably, probably one of the best runs of NFL quarterbacks ever during my era there. So I got lucky, to be honest with you. I worked really hard, but to be hired at 23, 24 years old to coach quarterbacks at the University of Michigan was quite a feat, and I'm very gracious for that opportunity.
Well, I'm sure you knew this was coming, because I got to ask you about that quarterback room. Along with Brian Griese, there's also a gentleman that's the GOAT, Tom Brady, that you got to see as a freshman get manhandled at practice, yet handle that. Talk about what you saw from Tom back in the day, and then the Tom that we see now.
Well, I will never forget it. It was Brian and I think it was our junior year. And I just had my second surgery. I'm sitting with a sling on, and Brian was done for the day, and they put Tommy in with the twos. And it was the first time in a long time since my freshman year. My freshman year, they made me live to figure out if I could really do it. And they made Tommy live that day against the first defense. And I swear to goodness, this dude got the living heck knocked out of him and got up and made play after play. And you watch the ball with the twos move up and down the field against the ones, and you're sitting here going, there's something about this dude. And Griese and I remember it was the day before Easter. Griese and I looked at each other and we went, this guy's going to be a dude. And, he was a guy that just worked his tail off. He's a CEO is what he is. He's the CEO of any top 5 company in the world. He works like a savage. He loves ball. And he is so methodical and so maniacal about his technique and how he approaches and how he studies. And it was, as much as I think I gave to him, I know that I learned just as much.
Well, I got to ask you about one more guy that you coached at Florida that I love, and I don't think he gets the props that he deserves. I'm a big Tim Tebow guy. Tell me about your time with Tim Tebow.
You know what? I agree with you. I think he might have been the greatest quarterback to play college football. And that's a lot being said when you got Peyton Mannings of the world in that conference. I mean, the SEC and the Big 12 and the Big 10 has had such good quarterbacks. But if you really look at what Tim really did, how many guys can essentially play fullback and tailback and play quarterback? Because that was that system. I mean, how many guys could actually do that? The amount of carries that he had in a game, he's running Q power. You're supposed to be turning and handing that off to a 240-pound running back in the SEC, except now he's running the the power play. And to sit in that pocket and take the beating that he did and the ability to make plays that he did and the run that he had at Florida, it's pretty hard to argue that he wasn't one of the best players ever to play the game.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But then you take all those great things that he did on the field, and nothing off the field was ever fake. This guy is he's as pure and as awesome a human being off the field as he was on the field. I mean, the things that he thought about and his selflessness with others and the ability to be gracious with every single person that he touched. Come on now. I mean, he's the best. He's gonna be in the good heaven for a long time whenever he leaves this earth.
Well, I think I'm in the minority in this office, but I think I would have liked to have seen more of him in the NFL because the guy did move the ball. I know that he had a great defense around him, but I would have liked to have seen more. So you were probably too busy when it came out, but a year ago in August, the Swamp Kings documentary came out. Were you able ever to watch it? Did you have any thoughts on that?
I haven't watched one of it, not one time. And our running backs coach was the tight end coach at Florida. So B. White and myself were both down there. And then you had Adazio last year. Steve was, the offensive line coach there. So, and DJ Durkin. Yep. You had DJ down there, and DJ. We had a really good staff and a bunch of really good players. Yeah, and Urban was a terrific coach. I learned so much from him; it was ridiculous. But I never. you never know with those documentaries, how much it's fabricated and what have not. So I never watched it whatsoever. I lived it, so
Yeah.
I didn't need to watch it.
Well, let's close out with some Bowling Green, because you sound to me somebody who feels very blessed to be at Bowling Green. It seems like the right opportunity for you this point in your career. And I can tell you have a great relationship with your locker room and your players. So just some thoughts about the experience at Bowling Green as you guys get ready for Kyle Field.
Yeah, the thing that I love is I've got 30 seniors, and in college football, I've got to spend, because of the COVID year, 5 and 6 years with this group of guys. And I'm really, really grateful to be able to come to work and be happy and be around a bunch of accountable, really good dudes that love to play. They love their teammates. It's kind of like a little old school. And, it's going to be really interesting to see if this ever happens again. If you leave Bowling Green and you go to a place like Texas A&M, is it a 2-year relationship, a 1-year relationship? Where's this thing going? So right now, in the time of my life, I got to be at all the big places and the great places, but I'm so gracious and I'm so thankful to be around guys that I've developed, guys that our staff developed. I haven't had too much turnover at all with our staff, so it's kind of old school. And so I've got 2 months of this left. We got 9 more shots guaranteed, and so I'm gonna enjoy every single second, and to be able to come down and play a team like yourself and is going to be awesome. Anytime that we get to go on the national stage, and just like I said, I think Texas A&M is going to be a top 5 to top 10 team before we can even blink, because the foundation up front is right, and that's the hardest thing to get right. And you got a great offensive line, you got a great defensive line. Now you can build all those fast guys around that. Oh my! And here at Texas A&M, my goodness gracious, you can get anyone you want. So it's really cool.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. I hope I can say hi to you on the sidelines this weekend.
Yeah, I'd love to come say hi.
You got it, man. Thank you
I'll
again.
bring a BG hat, all right?
And I'll wear it, not on the show, though, all right?
Okay, I got you, man.
Thank you, sir. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? That's my fault. I apologize. My mic was off. I'm not wearing that hat is basically what I said, but I appreciate Coach offering it to me. I told you guys you're going to love that interview, and I'm seeing a bunch of the texts. We'll try to get to those on the other side. We'll have Billy join us here momentarily, and we got a lot of football stuff to get into, right? The rest of the way, it's a Football Friday. Lewis Engineering Time, a machine shop located in Marshall, Texas. They want to become your premier metal fabrication supplier. They've been around for a long time, since 1961. Lewis Engineering has supplied the Department of Defense, aerospace, automotive, and oilfield industries with quality metal components. If you're in that field, you know it's hard to find the right place and people that you can trust for it. Doug Lewis is somebody that you can absolutely trust. Class of 2004, 4th generation to own and operate Lewis Engineering. A few of their services include CNC machining, stamping, assembling, welding, plating, painting, salt spray testing. Lewis Engineering is an ISO 9001 and an AS 9100 certified company who takes quality on-time delivery seriously. They specialize in high-volume productions as well as close to tolerance projects. They invite you to outsource machining to a company that many Fortune 500 companies have trusted them for over the last 63 years. Feel free to call Doug Lewis for a free quote, 903-938-6754. That number, 903-938-6754, or visit them online, lewisengineeringco.com. That's lewisengineeringco.com. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening into the program. If you want to be part of the conversation as we wait for Billy to come to the studio, you can call us up, 979-693-1150. All callers are picked up on the Boss Firearms hotline. Our good friends at Boss Firearms are taking great care of us here at TexAgs. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Polanski, let me guess. I told the people that they would like the interview, and the people have spoken.
They have. Tony from Lexington, Kentucky said...
Why are we making things awkward today?
No, I just don't want to mess up. Okay. He said the Bowling Green coach sounded like Jason Howell.
I got to hear them at the same time. I don't know if I heard that at the time, but I'll take your word for it.
And a lot of people in the YouTube chat said that was really cool. Seemed like a cool dude. Great interview.
He had a lot of great things to say about A&M. He said, before you blink, they're going to be, what did he say, top 5 or whatever he said. And I've been blinking for a few years. So I'm hoping that blink comes to fruition now, Coach. But I'm going to root for them based on that interview alone, outside of against, obviously not against A&M, but I'm certainly going to root for them. What else do you have for us, Ms. McKinley?
Yes, someone from Texas, didn't say their name, said, I expect very few mistakes from Bowling Green. Will not be fazed by Kyle. Penn got no sacks on their O-line. Will be happy for any victory regardless of score.
So I don't believe Connor Bazelak has been sacked at all this season. He's a really good quarterback. And part of the interview, I know that they spoke, that Coach Loeffler was speaking about it, but it took him some time to get rid of some bad habits and he was a broken man from his 2 stops prior. Right. Obviously, we saw him at Missouri, then a year at Indiana, and things did not go his way there. He gets to Bowling Green. It takes a little while to get going, and once he's figured it out. They're good. But back to your point about not being intimidated by these big crowds, I think sometimes that's what happens when you are full of veteran players. We've seen this environment before. We may have not won in this environment, but we know what to expect. And again, when you have an offensive line that's almost SEC size, I think 6'5", 320 was what their average was. When you have an offensive line that is that big, that stacked, and has been, they're protecting their QB, the bottom line is that offense is going to be dangerous, even against our A&M offense. When I say dangerous, semi-dangerous. Right? I think A&M's defensive front should be enough to contain Terry and Stewart and the rest of that team. But they have a very deep running back room. It's not just Terry and Stewart who didn't play against Penn State. They are deeper than that. And they've got some wide receivers. If you haven't seen my breakdown on TexAgs.com on the premium board, I have kind of some intel about how that team is built. It really is not about the wide receivers there. They got a couple of guys that can make some plays. Malcolm Johnson, their wide receiver, is certainly somebody to watch out for. He's their only big play potential guy. They got another guy who is acrobatic and can make one-handed grabs. But it really comes down to stopping the tight end there and the dinks and the dunks that they like to do. That's how they're going to operate. They are all about getting the ball to Harold Fannin. Their linebacker, he's a tight end, but he started off a linebacker in high school, transitioned to tight end, and has done a phenomenal job. That's where the offense is going to come from, and then using Terry and Stewart, every dink and dunk that they can possibly do. If the linebackers can have a good game, and obviously the front help, I think A&M will be able to corral that. All A&M has to do offensively is run the ball. Fordham rushed for 182. Penn State rushed all over them. So they're going to be fine. I think Penn State rushed for over 250 yards against them to kind of give you a feel for how A&M will probably attack them. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Billy should be in studio by that point. Let's talk Milliken Reserve. Volunteer at the farm. If you want to volunteer and enjoy a farm, you should go to Milliken Reserve on September 20th. That's today. Hello. That starts here in a few minutes. So make sure you head out to that. Day at Play, September 21st. 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock. You also have trail running with the Lone Star Trail Runners. You have Volunteer at the Farm on the 21st, so more opportunities. The Farm Stand, Camp Milliken Robin Hood. How about that? Off-season programs presented by Robin Hood, ages 8+. You've got Gardening 101. Events. You can go to Milliken Reserve, do the events, or you can just enjoy nature. Be outside, enjoy the atmosphere, the great people, the 2,600 acres of open space, and of course the great real estate with amazing neighborhoods, the creek, the hollow, the meadows. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. That website is millikenreserve.com. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I want to remind everybody about our tailgate that starts at 3:30 tomorrow right here at TexAgs. Free drinks provided by Shiner Beers, Rebecca Creek, and the Standard Ranch Water. Food for purchase from our good friends at 1775. So make sure you come hang out with us at TexAgs. And with that, Billy Liucci is here on TexAgs Live. Good morning, buddy.
Nuño, how are you?
I'm not 100%.
I was listening to the old Nuño hour this morning.
Did you get offended? Did you
It
enjoy
didn't
it?
offend me, but I was offended by one thing.
What's that?
Olin's joke, the offense was that I don't like when it feels like
forced.
Yes, someone said it home the night before and
wrote it out,
thought about it, thought how are they going to tie that in.
He says it
and
just
I
came
know
off the
the
dome.
word that triggered him. He knew he couldn't make it through a whole week with that guy being named the starting quarterback. But to plan it, it did not come. I think the second part, like, I'm not even going to use that word. It happened to appear in his head as he was doing it, but just the second part. The joke was premeditated and planned.
Well, I know that you don't like to cater to the audience, right? You like to cater them great content, right? But not the jokes.
It is not down on any map. The true places never are.
Good words right there.
Herman Melville.
Oh,
you know what that is?
Yeah. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Yeah, absolutely. R&B.
You don't know Herman Melville?
No, I know. Do you know Harold Melville?
Come on, guys.
Do you know Alani?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just making sure.
But Herman Melville is the guy that wrote Moby Dick, hence the...
Oh!
And thank God Olin's not here for this conversation, but yeah, that's my Nantucket. I'm a big touristy guy, so when I go places only places that I like. If I like it, and I have a good experience, a good trip, could be the people, could be the fun, could be the scenery, could be anything, then I like buying a little coffee mug.
You made a comment as you walked in that you've had a great week without seeing me, and that hurt. That really hurt because I missed you.
Did I really say that, or are you just making that up?
I think McKinley heard that. I think we both heard it. It was something to that effect. It was a great week. I didn't see you. That's what you said.
It was a great week because you got to sit at home and rest for a day.
But I worked. Let's not pretend like I didn't work. I was working.
I'm not pretending.
All right. You said rest. Rest doesn't sound like work.
I think sitting in a chair and looking into a camera and talking, you can work and still rest.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Like you just sit at home.
I am blessed to do this in a place that allows me to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's rest. It's not like manual labor.
God, no.
The only time it's hard is if you like lose your voice or you're sick and you can't. Like me, a couple weeks ago, it was hard to do a whole thing without coughing.
Mm-hmm. I'm still not 100%, but I'm 87.5%. Let's talk a little football, shall we?
Go.
So I said earlier, look, sometimes I don't know things, right? I say things that I want to see. And in an ideal world, I'd like to see both quarterbacks play this weekend. In an ideal world. Yeah. I'm not saying that's the scenario that's going to happen, but I
do not want to.
You don't? You want to see one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, tell me why.
I want to see this guy.
Okay.
Because I want Connor Wigman healthy the rest of the season.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's what's necessary. I think my common sense meter tells me it is, but I want that guy and this guy available the rest of the year. Because God knows, if anyone knows that you can expect the unexpected at that position, it's a Texas A&M fan. And it's anyone that's ever coached here, and it's anyone that's ever played quarterback here, including the guy we have on every week. So I said it the other day, it's wild just sitting here and we're like, oh, you played when Gerard had to give up his job to Tannehill. And you played when you had to give up your job to Gerard. And you were here when you took Reggie's job when he had a sprained ankle the second half of his senior year. And you were here when, Reggie took it from Mark Ferris and Dustin Long, who were underperforming that year early on, turning the ball over and stuff. And then I mean, we go back that far, you know?
It's true.
Mark Ferris was the guy, and then all of a sudden the offense, you know, it was a bad offensive scheme, and Ferris ended up being, you know, the unlucky victim there because I think he had a – man, I'm thinking about Mark Ferris in 2000, was it? Or 01. It was the year the Aggies actually – last time they lost an opener to Notre Dame at Notre Dame. He and Robert Ferguson were so good that it was 2000. And then all of a sudden, you know, in 02, he gets benched for Dustin Long. Dustin ends up getting benched for Reggie, you know, however that deal, I forget exactly how that one played out, but it's been like that ever since. So I want Connor healthy. And whether that means him sitting out this week or this week and next week or none of the weeks, play Saturday, whatever it is, I want him healthy. So whatever that takes. And in my opinion, if it's that painful a shoulder injury that he couldn't play 6 days ago, I would try my damnedest to err on the side of caution.
Give him 2 weeks off.
I think, but I also know that if I'm Connor Wigman, I know how competitive that guy is. And it's like I said, like this dude gave up a sport to play quarterback at A&M. He had a bright baseball future, just as bright as football, and he gave that up to play football here at A&M. So he wants to play. He doesn't want to. As great as it sounded talking to Marcel about their cohesiveness and their energy in that meeting room and stuff, and that's awesome. But deep down, they both want to be the starting quarterback, and Connor doesn't want to. We talked about this with McGee. You guys were talking. He brought it up again yesterday. You don't want to sit there and watch someone else. You're happy for the team that's winning and playing great, but you don't want to watch someone else in the process of potentially stealing your job while you can't play. Nobody wants that. So he's probably going to try everything he can to play, but you can't do it at the detriment of your whole season because, A, it'll hurt Connor long term. B, they're going to need both of them, and they're going to need both of them healthy.
Is this an antiquated take? So yesterday I go on Joel Blank's show in Houston, ESPN Houston.
It's antiquated that you went on that show because I don't know that show.
Joel Blank used to be the director of broadcast for the Rockets. He's got a show on ESPN, afternoon show. And he asked me, he goes, David, why can't A&M get the quarterback situation right? And my line of thinking has been, dude, you can't really blame the quarterback situation. It's been injuries. But unfortunately, it keeps happening, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we have blips where the quarterback situation looks great, right? Like, I'll give Zach Calzada this. He had the game, right? Haynes has had moments elsewhere at Georgia Tech. But why do you think A&M hasn't gotten the quarterback situation right? Because for a while, my mind was, well, you can't have quarterback situation right if you keep playing with your second and third quarterback.
It's a combination, David. And I used to say this. What was the downfall of Miami Hurricane football, besides all the cheating and sanctions and stuff? But Miami,
Larry Coker.
Michigan, I think USC maybe even, if you go back. A lot of these schools that were absolute powerhouses and then had a long dormant period. Look at Texas. They had Ellinger, who was good enough to never get beat out and good enough to win you some games. But also, like, the guy threw a lot of picks. He had a lot of bad games in there and the competition wasn't even any good. But when they had Major, Vince, and Colt all in a row, and you go look at like a Miami, they had this quarterback, that quarterback, one of the more amazing quarterback lineages for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Maybe all the way through. I don't know if Erickson was the last great one or who, but then you looked at who'd they have. Florida State, when they started to go down, you're like, it was because of quarterbacks. Florida, all of a sudden, had the same thing. And then they bumped up the year or two that they had Kyle Trask, who was a walk-on, because their QB situation was so bad that they had to. So I think a ton of it with these programs is when they don't have the QB. And look at You know, what took Georgia over the top when they got Stetson Bennett, the mailman. So when you don't have the quarterbacks, that's part of it. But for A&M, there was injuries and then there was misses. It's the combination. We can't just say injuries. You can say injuries and misses. Now, it's really interesting to dive into the misses and then to dive into the quarterbacks during this long stretch that A&M didn't take that have gone on to thrive elsewhere, whether it be from the state or guys they could have had. So there's a ton that goes into that. So there's been some wrong decisions. There's been some really bad luck. And there's also been some bad offensive schemes that weren't good for the quarterbacks. You know, everybody talks about Drew Brees and how he wanted to go to A&M or Texas. Would there be a Drew Brees had he come to A&M in 1997 versus what Joe Tiller was doing up at Purdue? What would Drew Brees have been? You know, so it's been a combination, I think, of offense. You know, you had the 5 years of the Fran offense. You had a litany of injuries during the Sherman era at quarterback. You had the dysfunction and injuries post-Manziel in the Sumlin era, and then Jimbo's was defined by injuries. But you also had really bad offenses under Fran, like that weren't going to lead to a QB thriving. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had one of them in here a few weeks ago with Reggie, who was subject to that, and McGee. Sherman, it took a couple years to figure out, thanks to none other than Chad Morris, who was coaching at Lake Travis High School at the time. Took him a couple years to get that going into anything. And then, you know, we spent several years talking about Jimbo's offense not getting caught up to speed. So combine those three things, and that's the situation. So that's what Elko is trying to overcome and avoid. And part of that is handling Connor right. So you have two. We might have found out last weekend, you know, like officially, you don't have one good quarterback, you have two, and you might have three because Jalen Henderson, when he just got thrown in there last year, did pretty well for himself. And if you just assume that he's gotten progressively better since then, you got a nice situation, but that changes in a hurry if you rush a guy back out there with a shoulder. McGee can tell you that because he went back out there and didn't finish his first game back and was shut down for the year.
Right. Let's hit a break here. It's game week. If you're headed to the game this Saturday, the Association of Former Students wants to invite you to join them at the All Aggie Hullabaloo. Make the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center your game day headquarters this weekend for free drinks courtesy of Yeeling and City Orchard Cider. Free Slovacek sausage as well. You can do the pregame shopping at the vendor marketplace, CC Creations, The Charge Apparel, South of Kyle, Kona Ice. There's also going to be a fun zone with games and prizes for the kids. Plus, if you have questions about your Aggie ring or need to have it resized, the Aggie Ring office will be open throughout the event. The All Aggie Hullabaloo begins at 3:30 p.m. this week, and admission is free, but you've got to register now. tx.ag/AAH3, that is tx.ag/AAH3 is the Association of Former Students. You're on the air.
Yeah, when people come in that door to bring stuff, it's like a 20, what people watching don't realize, it's like a 20-foot walk. And so they come with like a piece of paper to try to get me to do the picks and a little microphone, and it's like, and I see them coming, but they're not really saying anything.
Billy, please answer these questions.
But you know they're coming for you, and then they get there and there's a task in mid-show. We're very, very busy right now.
And I see how you see it coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, how can I stop this before it even starts? I see your face working there.
I'm texting Olin right now, and I'm saying Nuño just said he can be, and I quote, he can be very sensitive. So now I've thrown it back.
I actually said Olin was organic.
Now I've thrown it back on you. Olin has insisted to me that was in fact spontaneous, and he's insisted.
I believe him.
He's insisted so much that I believe him too.
You know how I know? Because he does a look when he prepares something to me that he knew was clever. This one, he came out and he started laughing. When he starts laughing in the middle of a thought, it is an organic thought, in my opinion.
I get you. I get what you're saying.
All right, we're going to hit a break here because we got nothing accomplished this segment. Thanks.
It's 2 minutes.
We're going to blame Katie on that one.
What were we going to do?
I was going to ask you a question. 2 minutes.
Ho, 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 and ho, ho, ho.
Do that again.
That's you and Olin laughing at one of Olin's jokes.
I can still hear the bronchitis or whatever I have. I can still hear it in my chest. It's not good.
Well, thanks for sitting next to me,
I'm
coughing all over
Olin
me.
was with me for an entire week and didn't get sick. You can't get contagious. Wait, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
You sound like you're doing one of your commercials.
Hey, 1775. Food's great.
It's not contagious over there. Get over there where it's not contagious.
There.
And play
I like
with
the word there. Sorry, THER and the EI one.
All derivatives are there.
By the way, when we come back on TexAgs Live, the final countdown, Steve and Seth McKinney in studio. We'll class up the joint. That's next. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the final countdown. Steve and Seth McKinney are with us. Hello, friends.
What's going on?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Good, man. How are we feeling about things? The last time we all spoke together after a road win was
some of us were very uncertain last week. Oh, but the road win, that was ages ago.
Who was uncertain about what?
I don't know, just a couple people in here.
What? Wait, whoa. I'm pretty sure I picked them to win.
Did you not pick them to cover?
I'm just joking.
No, I did.
I did too.
Well, you know what I didn't pick?
I picked them to barely cover.
I didn't pick them to come out and run for 300 plus yards.
You did?
I did not.
Oh, I was about to say.
But what I will say is that that display by the offensive line and the running backs and the quarterback was something I haven't seen out of A&M since probably back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Who knows?
When we used to run the ball like that. Because those guys, you could tell they went down there on a mission. That was a business trip. Those boys came out ready to play. Were coming off the ball, finishing. I think they just all fed off each other. The backs were just getting 3 or 4 yards after contact. The line was just blowing guys, giving the backs at least 3 yards every run play.
Yeah. To me, that's the biggest development of the year so far.
What's different about it? Like, why is it working?
I don't know what to tell you other than they're doing what they're supposed to do. I mean,
mindset.
Yeah.
That's why it worked. Is because you could see it in their attitude when they stepped onto the field.
What do you think of him, Armaj Reed Adams going full WWE?
Is that his personal? I hope it's an A&M chair. You just every road game.
I don't care. I hope it's
carry
a road team's chair. Oh, you're saying so he has one every time?
Yeah, let's just do that at home games. Let's do that.
It might become his thing.
Let's smash some chairs coming out of the locker room.
So you're seeing a whole different mentality in that group.
That was. Hey, we got our backup quarterback in. We haven't won a road game in 2 years. We're going to go out here in the offensive line, guys. We're going to win this game up front. We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage and take it to them from play one to the very end, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I for one was sitting there in the second, third quarter waiting for it to just all fall apart because I got battered ag syndrome. From the UCLA game still.
Screw that.
I've got proof on my phone. We can dial that up for the video.
Was that the group text I told y'all to drop me from?
No.
This
what's frustrating for me is that I'm sitting there watching the game and we're completely dominating them, right? From offense and defense. And we're only up like 13 points. And I'm going, this is barely a 2-score game. Like this could blow up real quick. And then you miss the 2 field goals, and so those kind of little things make you nervous to where like, hey, if we're playing a good team, this is the kind of stuff that gets you beat.
Yeah.
Luckily, that didn't happen, and that doesn't take away from what the offense did and what the defense did.
Yeah.
To hold on to the lead.
I think that's just part of the learning.
We got to clean that up.
I think that's part of the learning curve. I saw somebody trying to push a narrative that was kind of a thing. Oh, they're fading late. They faded late against Notre Dame because they were essentially like 3 and out throughout the whole game, and the defense finally cracked. You're an ass. You're an ass if you think they faded late against McNeese State by giving up late points. It was literally a combination of your second, third, and
look where you were. I don't care about you can say that they're having a down year. You're still facing SEC talent.
Yeah.
You're still facing an SEC opponent on the road at the Swamp. It's not like that's an easy place to go and play. The weather, there were a lot of ways you could go down this, and to have us come out the way we did, starting fast.
I got zero. I actually have zero complaints about anything about that football game. Now, if you want to nitpick and go, okay, what?
Oh, sure.
What are you encouraged by? Like, what any concerns coming out of that? That's different than having a complaint.
Right. Yeah.
Zero complaints about anything about how that game went.
No.
Of course, you'd have loved for them to take 33-7 and turn it to 40-7. But I think this is a team that's just grown each week, and they're learning. And those type things are, typically there was a letdown there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the missed. So my concerns are 2 missed field goals. Bond's missed field goals in his career. He's been far from perfect. I think he's a good kicker.
But he does seem to come through when you need him. Like it seems like the field goals he misses are the ones that we've got a big lead or something.
It feels like the ones that he misses are the ones where you're like, oh, that could
That could hurt us.
Damn, you needed that
another
one.
game.
You know, but yeah, when it's like important, like I could have done without the two 40-yard misses to end the game. I think it's a little too much cream. I could have done.
Nice
with,
try.
Beyonce.
There were open receivers, and I think more so than we'd seen, and that was the first team that tested them passing. We said that before the game, and what happened? They put the quarterback more in harm's way. You saw A&M pressure the quarterback more. But they did find openings in that defense, and I think what was happening actually, they went, I think they weren't positive that Eugene Wilson, who's a stud receiver for them, really, really good, weren't positive he wasn't going to go. And they did a little more zone, if you watch that game, than we've seen so far through 2 games. And you also, so let's say that was kind of your game plan. You also lost Tyreek Chappelle, your nickel, midweek.
Yeah.
Who's a stud at that spot for you. So you're going more zone. Midweek, you lose your nickel.
Yeah, and also we lost the guy doing a weird ejection. But
and then you lost Dalton Brooks again to an ejection. So
can we talk about these freaking targeting calls?
Well, it's all it is to
what
protect the play. Like, look, if you're going to call, like the first one, if you call the first one, you definitely got to call the second one.
That's true. I said that when it happened. I said, well, it doesn't matter at this point. They're ejecting.
I agree, but the first call was just complete ridiculousness, dude. Are we kidding? Are we kidding ourselves now? This is what football has come to. We're throwing guys out for hitting guys in the butt with their helmet. I mean, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, like, look, it was like
maybe
said,
people need to start wearing their butt pads again. Did y'all play when there was butt pads?
Oh, yeah.
Already done.
7th grade, baby.
Had a nice set. Nice set
But,
of butt pads.
but Billy, getting back to your point about concerns, you know.
Now they don't even wear pants. It's like short shorts.
Honestly, the only concern I really had, I mean, we missed. There was a couple open receivers at the end of the day. He made the throws he needed to make. We ran the ball the way we needed to run it to win the game. I'd need to see him finish more of those drives into the red zone. We go in there 6 times. We get a couple touchdowns. You know, give me one of those field goals. Make that a touchdown. You know, we can't go 4 for 6 kicking field goals. Yeah, we got to learn to finish drives a little bit better to beat the teams that we got on our schedule moving forward.
You went down against Notre Dame and had to settle for 2 early field goals.
So, I mean, just finishing those drives, we got to get more touchdowns in the red zone.
I'll tell you what we had this game that we didn't have against Notre Dame was just big plays, just right and left. And that was a beautiful development. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a game just full of big plays. And that was awesome to see as a fan. And then there's someone that just helps your offense. It loosens things up so much. To be able to operate.
What do you think was the key to that? Do you think it was Marcel or was it?
Well, I mean, I'm not over here trying to argue one way or the other, but I can tell you this: Marcel played a great game. All right, it started with the 3rd play of the game, him seeing that free, blitzer coming, the safety, and reacting the way that he did, and you're like, wow, that was very impressive. I'm not sure it could happen otherwise. And then it happened at other points in the game, and then he made other great decisions. And I'm not saying he played the perfect game, but he had a tremendous game, and I don't know anything about what's happening right now, about what's going to roll out there, but I can just tell you this about him.
I'm sure you've got some kind of...
I got my hope. I got my personal hope.
Whoever this mystery guy is, it keeps telling him bad information.
He played great.
Well, I'll just say that, what Marcel did is he opened up a dimension of our offense that we haven't seen.
Exactly.
Billy.
I'm laughing at Steph. Mystery source. I just want to we're making him so nervous right now.
I know.
Because the mystery source is listening. He's like, God,
we know who you are, buddy.
Don't out me.
But you know what he did is Marcel opened up a dimension of our offense that we didn't have. And that is the threat of the quarterback keeping the ball and being effective, getting down the field.
Wait till Colin Klein starts implementing more. And we saw couple of them, obviously, but wait till he starts implementing more too of the
play action,
the designed run, play action with it. But the designed QB run where you're freezing up defenders. Marcel said that was his favorite play of the game. Was the QB run down by the goal line where I think he scored. They said he didn't, and then he sneaked, the quarterback sneak on the next play.
Yeah.
But he said that was actually his favorite play of the game, just by the way they executed.
Was it? I'll tell you, my favorite play of the game was that 4th quarter juke he made, where the guy just eats it and then tries to get up and
he's
just
like
falls
doing like
and
a bear
crawls.
crawl.
That was good.
There was nothing better.
I would say my favorite part of the favorite play of the game was the first big run he had in the first drive.
That was huge.
That was one where you're setting back. It's a drop back.
Right.
And instead of throwing incompletion, nobody's open, the guy takes off and runs for 50 yards.
Yeah.
That's something we haven't really seen since Johnny was here.
Yeah, I know.
And that makes a big difference in the college football, high school football. When you got a dual threat quarterback that can get that kind of yardage.
It cures a lot of mistakes.
Man.
Having that ability.
So you said, like, we talked about it this week, like, if he doesn't have that vision and that reaction that you can't coach and you just, okay, on free blitzer, middle of the field's open, I'm gone. That was 2nd and 21. So it's going to be like 3rd and 30. You're going to run a draw. You're going to punt it on 4th and 22. And they're going to have good field position to start the game. And that crowd was loud as hell. Mm-hmm. Maybe they go up 3 or 7-0. It changed. That little
it was
deal
huge.
can change things. But you said the big plays, and I totally agree. Other thing I like, guys, were the little plays.
Yeah.
Run on 4th and 1. Get it. Coming off your own goal line, 2nd and 9 or whatever. Le'Veon Moss for like 21 yards.
Yeah.
Another play down in that end, and Le'Veon goes for like 27. The scramble we talked about there. The 3rd down later in that drive where he cuts out to his right and he's scrambling. Looks like he might take off for a few yards. He sees Trey Watson coming across the middle. Kind of fires it across his body to a wide open guy.
Nice.
Good catch. Like, it was the little plays, too, that A&M seemingly made every one of them, whereas Florida made very few to none. And that, to me, is the difference in a close game.
And our defense did a great job of shutting them down, too.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime
it's... Sorry, Nuño.
That's all right. I'm here. I just want to make sure everybody knows here.
David Nuño. David Nuño. Hey, guys. Would you like to drink out of the Herman Melville glass?
No.
If he didn't know who Herman Melville was, Seth.
Yeah, Moby Dick. You didn't know that? Come on.
I don't know stuff. I really don't know stuff. I don't.
Billy's a big Nantucket guy.
Big guy.
This was within the last 2 years, right?
And like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
A month ago. Remember, that was the one where I can't believe he missed the first practice.
Oh, yeah.
Never would have done that in the past. Even though there's 30 of them, and he was out there for the other 29.
Who's that, Hunter?
It's just,
but he did. That was his voice. That was Billy's voice for him.
The funny thing is, Hunter's emails sound like that too. He'll be like,
how you read them?
Man, because it's all caps. It'll be normal. And man, we've got to get this figured out. Time is up, and it's all caps. And it's like, there was a point where I on the reply said, "Hey, if you all cap in any email ever again, I'm not reading it." So. But anyway, we're talking about the little plays versus the big plays, and I don't even know what we're talking about now at this point.
I'll just transition to talking about little plays.
The defense.
Well, no, before we go to defense.
Anytime it's the fourth quarter and you have scored as many points as you've given up, you're having a pretty damn good day. So when that game was 33-7. After Bryce Anderson took back the pick six,
it was over.
And you look up and you go, okay, they've given up one touchdown, they've scored one.
That was impressive. But what I was going to say is that, really what excited me about that game was the level of intensity the backs were running with.
Yeah.
Especially because I as an offensive lineman, Seth, and when your back's running that hard, breaking tackles, picking up that extra 3 or 4 yards, or like the one coming off the goal line where he broke like 3 tackles and ran for like 20-something yards, that makes you as an offensive lineman want to play even harder.
Yeah.
And it just kind of all kind of built up into this unstoppable run game that we had the whole game just because of that type of effort out of your backs.
And our running backs are being coached up. Somebody's doing a really great job over there. The running back coach of telling them to hug the blockers, dude. I mean, these guys are hitting gaps. But you're like, ooh, that's impressive, man. That was it looks like a risky choice, but he's just hugging a block and getting that extra 3-4 yards by being so tight to his blockers and following that hole. I mean, it's really impressive what they've been able to do. Just speaking of the backs, much less the offensive.
And
line.
that run by E.J. Smith where he like just
that was great, dude.
400-pounder.
That was like a business decision was made.
The best thing I've ever seen.
Good business. He picked up the first down about and EJ in the last. Well, he didn't play against McNeese, but against Notre Dame and in this one, he's flashed some good runs and then I love the consistency of Amari Daniels.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just Le'Veon. I had a random thing pop into my head just now when you're talking. I have no idea the answer. I know one of yours. Who's the best running back or two you ever blocked for? And then I'm going to ask Seth.
The best running back? Oh, Edgerrin James.
Yeah. Is there, I knew that, and then is there a second one?
Probably Marshall Faulk.
Well, yeah. When was that? In Indy?
He played with some great ones.
At the very end?
First year in Indianapolis.
Like the end of Faulk's career? Or
no, the end before he went to St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, he was Rams after.
Yeah. But no, I'll tell you this. Edgerrin, when he came in, he held out his rookie year for like 3 games. So the first 3 preseason games, and we're not running the ball worth of crap. All of a sudden we sign him, and our offensive line just turned great overnight. Like the next game, we're running all over the place. It's like a really good running back will make your offensive line look really good, and vice versa.
I think Le'Veon Moss is in that.
Can make your offensive line look really bad. Yeah. But I agree. I mean, I think our backs looked really good Saturday. I hope that continues because if we're able to just run the ball half as good as that every week, we're going to be a really good offense.
And the passing game will come.
It'll come when we need it.
What about you in running backs?
Ricky Williams and Jamal Lewis.
Oh, that's right. Ricky. Golly,
couple of good ones.
Ricky wasn't
and then
in 2000.
Also, I'm losing my mind. Marshawn Lynch in Buffalo had a great year that year.
God dang.
You had some guys.
Y'all between y'all, what, 5 Hall of Fame? Well, Ricky, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not Ricky.
But he's a 10,000-yard back, believe it or not.
Ricky was legit. I mean,
probably deserved.
He had his own career stoppers that by his own choosing, but he was excellent, man. I mean, it's just
I mean, you saw that when y'all played him in '98.
Yeah.
So, not a commentary.
Seth trying to tackle him on that. Like guys from the offense came out there.
Thanks to me.
Tackle him.
Man.
Not a commentary on Marcel, but the way A&M played against Florida. Do they win the Notre Dame game? That game plan. Not necessarily about Marcel, just overall.
For sure. Exactly. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about
it.
Dude,
our offense puttered so bad.
It was bad.
I mean,
it was awful.
And look, Connor had a terrible game in that one.
And he admitted it.
But I also think where this O-line is, even 3 weeks in, is at a different place than it was in that game. I think that game was kind of a confidence builder for the O-line to say, hey, we held our own against. All we heard about is how good this defense was.
Like they didn't know that they could be good. You can be good. It was like you had to psychologically go in there and coach them. Like you are good. Now just go perform.
Seth, how about the fact that Coley went down at center?
Yeah,
and he's fine. That was it wasn't a long-term thing, but he was lost in that game. You had Fathery, you were kind of rotating him and Crownover. So I look up at one point, and you go, okay, we got 2 backup O-linemen in there. And there's that depth I talked about all offseason. I said, look, I'm not saying it's Hall of Fame depth. You don't have all SEC guys on the bench. I don't know how many teams do. Maybe somewhere along the way Bama and Georgia did. But you've got real depth, and it's showing now, or even early in the season. But what did you think of the job T.J. Shanahan did to come in? Essentially 2 weeks ago, he's your 3rd string center, and then you got the fellow Westlake product. Because I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah. No, he did. I thought that he played well, and it was nice to see. I think he got in there. He got in against Notre Dame some as well. And then to see him out there
Coley too,
and to see him out there against Florida again. I mean, he's doing a great job, and it seemed like a seamless transition to me. And anytime you can look up and, just like you said, see the people on the field and know that they're not your usual guys and they're operating like your usual guys, that just speaks volumes of the depth again. Yeah. And to be able to not have issues is huge, man. I mean, because it's football, dude. Things happen no matter what, even if they are just like what you said, it's a 1-game deal. He's going to be fine this week. Those kind of things pop up, man.
Yeah.
And to have guys that can step up and do the job that's needed is just huge.
Break.
Dude, I love it.
Little break here.
Billy's just giving
We're
you
only
so
3 minutes
much.
late. Bird dog time.
bad.
No, it's not bad at all. But I just know if you started a new thought, that's 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Yeah.
Bird dog, Aggie
I
owned
was
and
about to
operated.
go right into the whole defense at that point.
All right, defense next segment. That's coming up next. Aggie owned and operated, creating access to hunting opportunities. Our friend Jonathan Lusk is running that show. They're an Airbnb for hunting, streamlined booking process, making finding booking hunts transparent and easy. We're going to be doing a TexAgs hunt here during the second bye week. I'll have details of that here in the next week or so. You'll definitely want to be a part of that. But they make it easy for landowners to get more hunters. They make more money for their ranches. They provide full-service hunting experiences for corporate groups, friend groups. They handle all the logistics so you can focus on the fellowship and the fun. They can elevate these experiences with add-ons like live music, helicopter hunting, cooking classes, and much, much more. They've got partnerships with over 60 ranches. We're talking all over the world. Africa, Mexico, of course, the United States, Texas, Louisiana, Florida. Brand new hunters, seasoned hunters, they're all welcome. Ranch consulting for service land owners. You've got to check it out. Make some memories by going hunting with the good people there at Bird Dog. The website is birddogit.com. That is birddogit.com. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We are going to talk some defense in a moment, but you had something you wanted to talk about that was a little bit out of left field, if you will.
Yeah, I said we're witnessing greatness in Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
That's like one of Steve's favorite fighters, I think.
Yeah, what?
I didn't know who it was. I'm like, who is this
So have
guy?
you looked him up during the break?
No, I didn't look him up. Is
So
he a
you
boxer
still-
or MMA?
He's a boxer, obviously
Why
from
do I care
Asia.
About, why do I care about that?
I love boxing.
Because he's one of the greatest of all time.
His record right now, they're starting to compare him to Floyd Mayweather and Tyson. And
if he learns how to play linebacker, call me. I'll be interested.
He might be able to.
He might. He's like 6'4", 240.
Dang, he's a boxer?
Yeah.
That's a big dude.
He's
man.
a big dude. to
He's
box.
fast.
But they say they're act literally like the guy, if he wanted to, could play baseball.
And be one of the greatest of all time.
If he wanted to do that.
They're like he could be better than Barry Bonds if he chose to do that.
And Babe Ruth.
He's
apparently.
Korean or what is he?
Japanese.
Japanese. I think we all pause for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, he's Japanese.
He kind of reminds me of the great Cuban baseball player from 1988 who did 40-40, Jose Canseco. Same kind of build.
Same kind of build, but I think I'm never going to assume anybody's natural anymore in sports. I think they are, but Ohtani's a baseball player, Steve.
And he's one of the
For
greatest
God's sake,
ever.
dude.
And one of the greatest ever.
The guy's
a
like,
boxer?
you're
Oh
the
my
only
goodness.
person.
Possibly the greatest
Oh,
ever.
y'all
dude. It's
suck
like
so
crazy.
So
bad.
remember when we were kids, there was the 30-30 club.
Yeah.
And like
then we got
Darryl
the 44,
Strawberry
yes,
and
yes.
Canseco. And then they
I
went to
remember that.
40-40 and it was like Canseco.
What is this guy, like
Maybe
50-50
Griffith.
or
He just
something?
did
Yeah,
the first
he just
person
did
to
it
do
last
50-50.
night. It was
Okay,
crazy.
sorry.
And the game that he
Follow
did
baseball
it in, he
all
had
the time.
6 hits, 10 ribbies. I mean,
In
it was
one
incredible.
game, so I'm at lunch 2 days ago.
Oh, and he
with Zane.
pitches too.
Oh,
He
yeah,
also-
we're
He also is
neglecting
like a
this.
top 3
And let me
Cy
guess,
Young
he makes
guy.
like $200 million a year.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, good
basically.
Lord.
But he
So,
deserves
so but I love talking to somebody that's literally never heard of Shohei. So cool. Like, who knew you were going to be able to do that?
They're on
today?
Melville. This is like that.
Yeah. Nuño doesn't know who Melville is. He doesn't know who. Nuño doesn't know Moby Dick. Steve doesn't know Shohei. So
I feel well-rounded now.
this guy yesterday needed 2 home runs and 2 steals. There's like 8 games left. I'm at lunch with Zane. Yet the day before, 24 hours before, he's the biggest Dodger fan, and you know how he'll just kind of just expertise you and just. I worry about he'll get the 50 home runs. I worry about the steals. I just don't think the rate he's going, he won't be on base enough. It's either a home run or an out. He's not hitting singles right now. I'm concerned about the 2 steals. Later that day, gets 1 steal. Literally 24 hours later, gets the 2nd steal. Then home run.
Wow.
So in that same game, Steve, 6 hits, 2 home runs to tie the record.
He had 6 hits in one game?
2 home runs to break the Dodgers all-time record, get in the 50-50, then stole the 50th base, all in the same game. 6 hits, 10 RBIs.
But same game, he got the 51-51 in that game.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever done that.
No, not touched it.
It's not. I'm going to take it back to A&M now. It's like Ricky Williams running all over Seth to get the break Rondain's record.
Right. Hey, I played a mean nose guard. I don't know if y'all kept up with that.
And it's like Travion.
It's like running for 300 yards against Florida and McNeese State.
No, it's like Travion Williams.
Nice try.
It's like Travion Williams breaking that single season yardage record in the bowl game against NC State where he went like 94 yards to break the record on steroids. No pun intended. I mean, it's like it's on steroids.
Okay, so who does he play for? The Dodgers?
Dodgers.
Okay. I'll look him up, check him out.
Well, I wanted to talk defense, but the segment's over. So,
that was good. It was a good
It was a
segment.
good run. It was a great run.
Here's what I was going to say.
We talked baseball
What I was
instead,
going to say
apparently.
about the defense real quick before you desegment us, and we'll go back because we have 30 minutes to go. There's a guy I wanted to mention when we come back who no one really talks about, and I'm like,
Just mention him now.
Javon Thomas.
Okay, mentioned.
One of the, I like to go back and say, hey, if you listen to all this stuff during the camp, you knew about this football team. And the only thing so far that we didn't hit right, or that I didn't hit right, if you took everything I said, was Connor, and he's really played one game. So who knows? And it might end up being Marcel, for the duration. We'll see. But everything else, and Javon Thomas kept hanging around in that starting lineup. But I definitely know, we were reporting Javon out there with the ones throughout. But I know I was talking more about these transfers coming in. You had Will Lee, who's been really good. You had Des Ricks, who's looked good when he's out there. And you had BJ Mays, who I think you'll start to see more of. I think you'll see him start to maybe get looks at that nickel with Chappelle out. But Javon Thomas has held on to the starting job 3 games in. He was thrown into the fire last year as a true freshman and wasn't ready. He's ready now. And he had the game-icing pick the other day. I just think he's playing really well, and credit him, because I like a dude that just doesn't want to give up a spot and says, man, you know what, then I'm just going to get better. And he's a gifted athlete. So anyway, love what they've got at corner just across the board right now.
Depth, finally.
Yep.
Costa Vida time. South College Station, go get your fresh Mex on. You obviously know that you can go to Kyle Field and eat. They're up there. You'll have awesome menu, great food. You want to try it out because every ingredient matters there at Costa Vida. They certainly bring the best food in the Brazos Valley when you're trying to get Baja-inspired Mexican food, right? It's not just about Tex-Mex. They do it Baja-inspired style. Ultimate fresh Mex, where every ingredient is done the right way. You can taste the difference there. They've got burrito, they got salad, enchiladas, tacos, quesadillas, Baja bowls, nachos. They've got all the protein you can imagine: sweet pork, raspberry chipotle chicken, shrimp. You've got chicken, steak, cheese, veggies, you name it. Sweet pork quesadillas, raspberry chipotle chicken salad, shrimp taco mango salsa, chips and queso, and of course you can go in, dine in, drive through, you name it. But go to Kyle Field and get your grub on when you go to the game this weekend, and go to Costa Vida. They're in South College Station. Go say hi to Holly and the great crew over there. You're going to enjoy it. Aggie owned and operated, 4501 Mills Park Circle in College Station. Again, that is 4501 Mills Park Circle in South College Station. It's Costa Vida. Coleman. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jeweler. I don't know why I said that. Here in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
That was great.
That was like really intense.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some serious energy.
Yeah, I'm into it. Are we done with the defensive thought? Can we move on to a couple of the segments that we have sponsored here?
Sure.
All right. It's time now for, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wait for it, the Freak of the Week.
It's the Freak of the Week. Seth.
Please,
Well,
more energy,
I
bud.
I don't know anything.
By the way, I think I nailed
let's
it
just
last
pretend
week.
that it's Marcel Reed, all right? I'm picking Marcel Reed to have a great game. We need him to be the guy that he was last week. He had a tremendous game, and then I guess the only thing you could say was just bump that completion percentage up a little bit, and boom. Definite earned the Freak of the Week last week.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll do the same this week.
I like it.
I'm going to go with Cassius Howell.
Oh, wow.
A Bowling Green transfer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Led the
Nice.
MAC in sacks last season.
Nice.
Well, he did his
And,
research.
Got one. Almost got a couple last week.
He almost did. He's actually flashed quite a few times, and I think he's somebody's name who we're going to start hearing called quite a bit moving forward, because between him and Kennedy, we got a couple of freaks on the outside. I think both of those guys, if we can find ways to get them on the field together in passing situations, be pretty
Pretty
tough.
distracting over there.
Sorry,
I'd say.
my sign guy's calling me.
Billy?
Well, since I like to do two of them, I'm going to go on defense. I think this is a Nick Scorton breakout game.
Nice.
I think Nick Scorton goes out and wreaks havoc against an offense that's going to try to move. Look, they do move the ball, and they do have, look at Connor Bazelak. They're going to throw it around. He's got a couple of receivers I think are pretty good. He's got a terrific, when I say terrific, I love that tight end.
He's great.
He's like a pass catcher and way more than a blocker, but right now 17 for 204 and a touchdown. He looks like a pro. So I'm going to go, they're going to try to throw it because they're going to have to. And I think Nick Scorton has himself a day. I think it's the breakout performance for him, his first takeover kind of showing in maroon and white. I thought he had some really nice plays against Florida that didn't show up as much on the, he didn't get any sacks, but I think he's going to break out. And then on offense, man, look, when the one thing Bowling Green has done, we talk about all the good. They got so many veterans, and that scares you, okay? A veteran, I call it like a mid-major, what we're talking about here, but loaded with veterans and an experienced QB, and they're very well coached, and they were down 14-6 at halftime last year against Michigan, who won the national title. They were up. They lost by 7 this year at Penn State a couple weeks ago. By 7, right? Yeah. 34-27. They put up 27 on the Lions.
Oosh.
It's not an easy game. It's actually far from an easy game. And
however, we're picked to win by 22.5.
Well, part of that,
How's that?
Part of that, Steve, is going to be because defensively, their rushing yards allowed per game right now through 2 games, including a game against Fordham. Do you know where Fordham is?
I'm going to guess Virginia.
Do you know where Fordham is?
I'm going to guess New Jersey.
Do you know where Fordham is?
Nantucket.
Do you know where Fordham is? Seth was the closest. I believe it's in the Bronx. It is in the Bronx. So, anywho, they give up 200-plus yards rushing a game, and that's with one of their 2 games against Fordham. So either, and I know this isn't true, but either Penn State ran for 400 and Fordham ran for none, or they both ran for a lot of yards on Bowling Green. So with that said, give me number 8, Le'Veon Moss.
There we go.
Le'Veon Moss. All right, time for the Sleeper of the Week. That is presented by the Sleep Station. Go see Jared McLeod and ask about the Tempur-Pedic or the Purple mattress in the Specs parking lot at Texas and Harvey and in front of the Lowe's at William D. Fitch on Highway 6. The website is thesleepstation.com. Steve, you start us off.
Dang it. All right.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I was just going to look up the name of the guy. I couldn't remember his name.
I'll go with it. I'm going to go with Trey Watson. I'd love him to have a bigger presence in the offense. I know it was last week was a great kind kind of a breakout game for him, and he was where he needed to be, and hopefully he can be that for us this week.
I can't find his name. It's not on this sheet. He's number 1, Jabri Barber. Jabri Barber.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
That's
shown a few flashes.
Hey, I was so happy to see him out there, by the way.
Not with the hand you just picked your nose with.
It was a white, by the way. No, I don't know. He's flashed a few times, but we haven't seen him like really kind of take over a game because he's kind of getting back
that was
healthy,
his first game, right? Last week?
Okay. He was in there for a few snaps.
Yeah,
against McNeese.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like he's shown some flashes to where, like, dude, this guy's going to he's going to have this big game at some point, you know. I'm thinking it could be this week.
A good sleep.
I hope they make a video of you wiping your nose and then handing high five.
I was kidding. It was a wipe. It wasn't a pick. It wasn't a pick. I'm not going to say it. I worry driving, with people with camera phones now that one of my irrational fears is getting on video picking your nose at a red light.
The side scratch.
Yeah, yeah, exactly
like
Seinfeld. Exactly like Seinfeld. It was, what did he say? It was a wipe. My sleeper of the week is going to be, I was going to go keep it in the running back family and go E.J. Smith, but what I'm going to do instead.
That's a move. That's a great move.
You see how I kind
That's
of
awesome.
picked two?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm actually, and I don't know which one I picked Bryce Anderson to be last week, but I might think I may have called for a pick six. I might have. We might need to check
checkers, please.
Oh, yes.
We might need to check the tape. I might have called for it, but I'm going to go with, he's not a sleeper because of the, I got something.
It's all right. I've done this.
Terry Bussey.
I like it.
Yeah, I think Terry Bussey could, he had the 63-yard, whatever it was, touchdown run against McNeese. But I think Terry Bussey could put up some nice numbers against this defense as a runner, in that whole motion game.
Yeah.
And I think this could be a game where you see 2 or 3 nice runs by Bussey.
Okay. Nice job. We're on time. How about that? We can do our pick six on the other side.
Thank you, Proctor.
Thank you very much. Prize Picks is going to bring us that. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with our pick six. Right now, though, let's talk about Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for. They do the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. They've got 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but their headquarters is right here in College Station. You want to go check it out on Highway 6. But as I mentioned, 60 offices in Texas, Houston, Dallas, Tyler, Austin, San Antonio, West Texas, everything outside of Texas. And, of course, they've got many, many places, Utah, you name it. They'll take care of your car insurance, your homeowners insurance, your farmers, your ranchers, your hobby farmers. They the business owners insurance as well. And their priorities are God, family, and country. Check out their website, rolloinsurance.com. That is rolloinsurance.com, 888-44-ROLLO. All right, we're back. It's time to end the day with Double Dave's. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. Serving Aggieland since 1984, they have your favorite pizza and your favorite world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Pick Six time, presented by Prize
Steve,
Picks.
you don't know. Go ahead, sorry.
Thank you very much. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play. $5, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. Every Caleb Williams passing yard, 1 yard, gets you a win every September or every weekend in September. Go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. You had a comment.
Evangelist shaking his permed head over there. He's become like the Prize Picks.
Birthday boy tomorrow.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
HBD.
He's become like the Prize Picks gatekeeper. Him and Katie, they're like the
and
gatekeepers.
Dawson, too.
And Dawson. But no, I think Luke way more than... Luke was like visibly shaken last week because of how long it was taking me to get the Prize Picks in. Like he had just ascended the rank. I'm telling Lauren on you. Second, you haven't heard of Otani. Have you heard of Mudang?
Mudang, the little baby hippo. Yeah.
First things first, right?
I've heard of that.
But first, culture.
Mudanginger. Mudanginger is going to interview Prager here in a minute, so we got to wrap this up.
All right, let's do the Prize Picks. McKinley Polanski at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Start us off, please.
Yes, number 24, Illinois, is traveling to number 22, Nebraska. They are playing at 7 p.m. today at Tom Osborne Field at Memorial Stadium. It will be streamed on Fox, and Nebraska is favored by 8.5 points.
I'll make it quick. Nebraska is covering this.
8.5. Are you sure you read that right?
That's what it says.
All right, I'm going to pick Nebraska too, and baby Mahomes to pull this one off.
Illinois beat the mighty Kansas Jayhawks, which nobody had them doing. But then Kansas went and lost.
Nobody circles the wagons.
But then Kansas went and lost at home to UNLV, the running Rebels.
Who's not very bad, actually.
No, but
That's pretty good.
But it takes away a little bit of the Illinois
hype machine.
Yeah, so I'm with you guys. I'm gonna go Nebraska. I think they've got a good thing going there, particularly at home. I think that is going to be a pretty raucous atmosphere after what they did to Colorado. And old Graybeard. That's Deion.
Polanski.
Arkansas is traveling to Auburn. They are playing at 2:30 p.m. at Pat Dye Field at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It will be streamed on ESPN, and Auburn is favored by 3.5 points.
That's a hard pick.
It is tough.
You got Arkansas, who looked really good at times against Oak State on the road, and then looked really bad. And then they looked really bad for most of that game last week at home against UAB. Like they were down 17-3, if not 17-0.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly.
But Auburn, and they just changed quarterbacks last week, but they played a nobody. So it's like, did they fix their problem or not? Give me Arkansas to cover. I don't know who's going to win. If you're going to give me those points, I'll take Arkansas.
That's what I did.
I'm going to go Arkansas for the dub.
Wow.
I think they're going to win it outright.
Yeah, going Arkansas.
Really? We're going across the board Arkansas?
Yeah, what do you want me to do? Pick Auburn? I got burnt last week because y'all made fun of my pick on Oregon, killing Oregon State.
That was
so I'm sticking with Arkansas.
Yes, you should just trust your instincts, Seth.
Yeah, thank you.
Polanski.
Number 11, USC is traveling to
I'm moody today.
number 18, Michigan. They're playing at 2:30 p.m. at Michigan Stadium. It will be on CBS, and USC is favored by 6.5 points.
This is more emotion. I need this from USC. I need them to blow out Michigan, so I'm picking them to win it. And
Bob, you think they're going to drop Texas from number one if Michigan loses?
No, I just think a little
Newsflash, buddy.
I would love
Newsflash,
a
buddy. It's
Shoot me.
over.
It's over.
That you can't
They're
pry
back.
that number
No,
one.
I'm
They're going to have to
well
lose
aware.
2 games before they're not number one with the hype train of Arch Manning.
Dude, did you see how bad they blew out that team, though?
They're not. Listen, I think Texas looks really good. They have played no one, and Michigan, and they shouldn't apologize for that because neither has Ole Miss. Neither have a lot of teams, but Michigan is bad. And I think it's a bad matchup against USC the same way it was Texas. If you're Michigan, you do not want to play against a team that can score because they can have Orgy, they can have whoever at quarterback, whoever that spare was that started against Texas. It doesn't matter, unless it's J.J. McCartney coming back. They're not going to get it done. They're not going to score enough points. I take USC in that one.
I'm USC also.
All right, Polanski.
Number 12, Utah is traveling to number 14, Oklahoma State. They are playing at 3 p.m. at Boone Pickens Stadium. It will be streamed on Fox, and Oklahoma State is favored by 2.5 points.
No, I'm going with Utah.
Okay. Billy?
I'm actually going to go Oklahoma State. I don't like picking against Kyle Whittingham in Utah. I really don't. But Cam Rising, I heard you this morning. It's like I never know when the hell he's going to play, when he's not. Yeah. What he's got going on now is like a hand thing. I'm going to go Oak State at home.
If Cam was playing, would you keep that?
If Cam was playing and healthy and had been playing.
Yeah. I thought he is playing.
He is.
But he's not healthy.
But I'm going to go Oak State at home is typically can win a game. I'm going to pick that.
I'll take Oklahoma State as well. Cam Rising's got stitches in the ring finger. They said he's wearing a glove.
Yeah. It's all right.
Give me Oak State.
Polanski?
Number 6, Tennessee is traveling to number 15, Oklahoma. They're playing at 6:30 p.m. at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. It will be streamed on ABC, and Tennessee is favored by 7.5 points.
Not at the Palace on the Prairie. No, I'm picking Tennessee to cover this.
You know what? I'm taking Oklahoma.
You think a little pride's going to kick in? Because they've sucked.
So. I think
for being an undefeated team, they barely beat Tulane. They pulled away. They should have never beat. They should have lost to U of H.
Thank you, Zone. We'll see you on YouTube. Go ahead.
They should have lost to U of H. You see this highlighter, Steve? That's a Tennessee colored highlighter. Mm-hmm. It really looks like it when you put pen to paper. I'm going to go with Josh Heupel. He's going to roll in there. Heupel's going to roll in there and get revenge. Just like he said, you know what? A lot's changed since I left here.
I could see that.
I was a skinny little quarterback winning a title in a young OC. Now I'm up there in Knoxville enjoying all that food up there, and I'm going to come back. I've collected a ton of talent, and I'm going to come back and kick your ass.
Well, you know what?
And he's going to do it. I'm going Tennessee to cover.
I think Venables is going to tell freaking Heupel to get his freaking shine box. Is what I think.
Nice.
Okay. And I think Oklahoma at Norman is going to step it up. Now they may not win the game, but I think they'll keep it under 7.
I'm a Josh Heupel fan. I like him I think he comes off as being a good dude, and people at Tennessee will tell you as much. And as long as he's not playing A&M, I root for him. I'd like to see Tennessee be good. I love their environment up there in Knoxville. I want that more than I want to see OU. Mm-hmm. I don't actually hate OU. I really don't. I was hating them a lot more in the Stoops era. But I don't really root. I don't need to see them be any good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're more of a recruiting, adversary of A&M. I don't know why, but I'll root for OU in a couple weeks when they play Texas. It ain't going to be this week. And I just think Tennessee. Part of me, Steve, wants to go with you though, because it's just too many signs point to Tennessee rolling in this one.
I know.
And it's a big spread to be at home, college game day. But I think Tennessee makes a statement.
But there's two games that everybody's picking USC and everybody's picking Tennessee
to blow them out.
Like everyone just believes those two teams are going to win, which should be a big red flag because usually that's when you get upsets.
Yeah, because generally we don't know what we're talking about, meaning the G-pop.
Yeah.
Last one, please, McKinley.
Bowling Green is traveling to number 25, Texas A&M. They're playing at 6:30 p.m. at Kyle Field. It will be streamed on ESPN Plus, and Texas A&M is favored by 22.5 points.
I'll go. I'm going to pick us to cover. I think we got this one in the bag.
Of course you are.
Of course I am.
That could be 100. A&M's favored
No,
by
that's
99.
not true. I didn't do McNeese.
Oh, you didn't?
I was like, that's just too much
Yeah,
to overcome.
And then
I think we got this.
They did backdoor cover the McNeese
Exactly.
game with the field
Well,
goal.
great picker.
I'm actually going to pick A&M to not cover as well. I think that's
Whoa, don't say it like I want the record straight. I picked to cover.
Let the record reflect.
Oh my God, Seth.
You said as well. I was like,
I'm picking A&M to not cover. I think
There
they
you go.
win like 21 points. I think maybe Bowling Green gets a late score, to cover or something like kind of what McNeese did.
I'm going to pick A&M to win and Bowling Green to cover. If you're going to give me 22 points for a team, it's not just that they played within 7 against Penn State might do the usual Penn State thing and not really be any good. But Bowling Green, I think, again, like I said, they've got a veteran QB, they've got an offense that scores, and they've got a veteran QB and offense that scores, and I think they're well coached with a ton of juniors and seniors. Those are the kind of MAC teams you don't want. You want to catch them next year when they're really young, and then you walk all over them. I think this team competes. I think A&M wins in the, 38-20 range. That type
close
of
but
score
no
to
cover.
me.
What did Neuheisel say about a MAC team? It's like it was like a rhyming saying about playing MAC teams. I can't remember, but it was. Google it.
Playing against the MAC, you better pack a sack.
Something like that.
Don't expect brunch, because they will munch. I have a hunch that the show's over.
Play by the bay. I just
I'm done.
may.
We're going to call it a day. We've got Ryan Prager coming in.
Prager's coming in. I got to do my picks here.
You got to do picks. I got to do rewind.
Prize picks, Luke.
Thanks, everybody.
Prize picks.
Thank you.
Can you sign up for Prize Picks, please? Help a brother out.